Ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a live stream. It's Captain Trucker, man. It's 20 degrees outside, and I'm here in Joplin, Missouri. And yeah, it's moments like this that I think we miss the Philippines. What can I say? But I had a title for this live stream: "The Decay of the American Middle Class and Why Expats Will Have a Real Future." In my opinion, yeah. I'm not sure what it is, but I really don't like seeing people losing their money, and dedicating their lives, working, grinding away, to live in debt, to struggle, to get by. And I think a lot of men are being sucked into this. And I think a lot of men are tired of it. They really are. I'm tired of seeing truck drivers lose, working men, other groups. Why is it happening? I'm not sure, but I just thought I'd connect with you all today and say hi and just give you my kind of current thoughts. And I was kind of thinking about vlogging future as well, the expat Philippines YouTube vlogging scene. I see that changing in the future too, for the better. And I was kind of like trying to do some research on it last night, the topic, because actually I have some time off, which I'm happy about. This is a very rare occasion where I've had the whole day off. This is the first 48 hours I've had off in like 2.5 months. So yeah, I am in a good headspace. Thanks for asking. Mona from Sacktown says, good evening. Thank you, Jarka. And also, I have other good news. I'm thinking about getting my brother, one of my brothers, I have several brothers and sisters, who is a very successful international businessman, and he's a major influencer and player in technology. He's done a lot of great things for the country and the world. And I'm trying to get him on the channel. We keep missing each other, but he has a lot to say about autonomous vehicles and how this kind of stuff is going to help developing countries in the future as well. So I want to kind of touch base with him, get him on here too. But anyway, yeah, man, unbelievable. It's really cold out today, dude. So, it's like really cold when you leave the gym and walk into the truck or walk into your car. Your hair freezes because when you just showered. Have you ever done that? Have you ever been outside after you showered? I did. I'm walking from the gym to the truck and my hair froze. That's how cold it is. But I just thought that was kind of funny. Lona from Sacktown says mild weather here in California. I thought that you were in Bacolod. I'm confused. I keep flipping that around. Why do I keep thinking you're either in Sacramento or Bacolod? You got to get this right. You got to figure this out. Man, I don't want to be so cynical, but I kind of had these thoughts since I was a kid, man. I feel like the American middle class is just being played for fools, to be honest. I mean, and it's really hard, like when you have family, when you have kids and you have a wife. And I was talking to one of the subscribers about this, is like, men have to provide like a proper house and, clothing, and like you can't be like a hippie and have the kids living out of a van with you, right? You can't live some minimalistic lifestyle necessarily if you have family, because we live in the status anxiety world, and we're always comparing ourselves to the Joneses and hierarchies and all this stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but I never really liked it. And I got to be totally straight about this. I was having these thoughts as early as like 13 years old. So, for me, like the Philippines, going over there, it wasn't really like a last ditch kind of scenario where I just was like, I can't afford to retire in the US. I got to do something. It wasn't really like that for me. I've been planning this kind of a long time. And well, having the thought about it for a long time, and I guess really executing it in recent years. Jarka says the American middle class gets played because the middle class includes everyone except the homeless. And yeah, that's the other deal too, is like, you know, the middle class does all the work, and the lower class, they kind of say to heck with it. Let's just collect benefits and sponge off the system. And then the middle class, especially the working men, they get particularly bitter because they're doing all the legwork, right? They're doing the heavy lifting, so to speak. And when you get bought into those systems, those hierarchies, you kind of, it's kind of, that's it. Like, you got to play ball at that point. You have to, you know, get into politics, your local community, and then, you know, you start getting bitter towards non-working people, and you got your groups and your neighborhoods and all this and that, and it's just exhausting, right? So, but I think we also, some men, some expats, especially the older ones, what happens too is when they go to these other countries, they carry some of those similar colonial mindsets and some of those status anxiety stuff, and they start, you know, kind of becoming like the McMillionaire expat, right? They flash their money, they I don't know, I would say talk down to locals, but they play the status game even as like expats, right? These are people with like average or median net worths, and you know, it's kind of cringy to see, in my opinion. I don't really enjoy it, and I do know some people like that, and I, you know, well, I guess I have some neighbors like that. They're okay people. I shouldn't say that. Not my neighbors, but I mean people like in the community, right? Yeah, people in the Bacalat area playing the status game as expats, man. What's that about? DJC says it's possible to live minimally but appear normal is definitely other normal. It's possible to live minimally but to appear normal. Oh, hey, if you want to jump into the chat, Daniel, you can click on the join the link. I have it in the description so you guys can join this live stream, actually, which I would much prefer to have a conversation with someone else. I'd love to talk to you right now, Daniel, if you have a moment. That'd be fun. Something about doing these live streams alone, like, it's just, I don't know. I know, like, there's a few people watching. It used to be, well, I got to build it up again. But I haven't really been doing the live streams as much these days, or at least kind of on a, yeah, they're kind of random because, I mean, dude, I work like 70 hours a week, right? And it is hard to like make YouTube videos and stay plugged in. So I do my best to get like an upload every week. But, you know, it's really annoying me lately is that my GoPro, my laptop, right? So when I'm on the road, I don't have a hotspot for the laptop. And for some reason, I cannot transfer the file from my laptop to my phone because that's how I normally upload it. And so lately, if you've noticed the video quality, I've just been using the cell phone, which is fine. But, you know, I like the GoPro and the audio mic, the lapel mic. It gives a much better audio experience, so to speak. It's okay. No big deal. Thank you, Moby. I'm trying to speak some truth. That's what we're all about here, man. This is the truth channel, you know. But yeah, I was also looking at the vlogging ecosystem, and I had this community post that I think you guys might be interested in, some of you, because I think things are going to change in the future. Because I was researching it, and I was trying to figure out, like, you know, using AI and stuff. I was asking, like, because you hear some bloggers say, they say, like, the Philippines expat blogging community is particularly more toxic than other blogging communities. And I was like, well, is that true? And yeah, I think it is true. But I was trying to figure out why is that, right? So I was kind of trying to analyze it with AI, and it was like, it was basically, it said something like, what did it say? Sorry, I had it written down. I don't have it in front of me. It was like, I think they were saying like the entry of it is easy to get into, and so a lot of people can get traction and get their subculture attention and fame or whatever, and then like a lot of guys aren't prepared for it, and or they already have, you know, I don't know, they said like some expats have issues, and so there's not a lot of like ethics in that culture, I guess, in the online community. So it could turn into like this real shit fest basically, which is kind of funny. But the thing I was looking at is like, you know, eventually they say like drama kind of dies out. It kind of doesn't last the test of time, so to speak. But at the time, it's very polarized and it's very, oh, my engine room off. Trying to keep the heater on. You know, like it's very polarizing and it gets, you know, a lot of attention and all that, of course, but it kind of fizzles out. And then, so when you start a community like that, an ecosystem, right? When you start off, you know, lack of ethics, people who don't understand boundaries, people who aren't prepared for traction, because it's not easy to get, but well, it's not. It's not true. It's not easy to get. You gotta put passion and heart into it. Man. It's hard to just grow a channel. Probably why I would imagine there's going to be like more AI channels, right? And you know, can be perfectly scripted, well edited, good video overlays, the whole gambit. But it's not necessarily, you know, in my opinion, like social media. The essence of it is to socialize, right? And so, you know, YouTube hasn't been used necessarily for showing short films or commentary in like the vlogging scene, but maybe it could, you know, like why not, right? I just think it hasn't gone in those directions yet, but I think it could. And in fact, there's somebody else. Uh, there's another driver. It's an older man. I'm thinking about. He's kind of doing some interesting commentaries. I got to listen to some of those. Anyway, welcome to the live stream. Eric says, hey, Captain Trucker, you're right outside my hometown in Joplin, Missouri. I hope you're staying warm. I'm working at a hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma tonight. Can't wait to retire somewhere in Southeast Asia. Right on. It's good to hear from you. Yeah, Eric's been around here for a while, too, on the show. But you can join the live stream today, guys, if anybody wants to pop in. And, or if you don't want to be on video, you can just do audio. That's always an option, too. But yeah, it's like 20 degrees here, and it's very cold. Eric says the temperature really dropped the past couple of days. I'm ready for some warmth. Yeah, I believe it. That's what I'm starting to figure out too. I haven't been over. I came here from, where was I? God, oh, dude. I've been east to west, north to south. I just came from somewhere in eastern Washington, drove down through Idaho, Utah, New Mexico, and now I'm here in Missouri. I think I'm headed back. I just totally forgot where I'm going next. I don't know where I'm going next. Picking up a load tomorrow. I think I'm going to like Washington. But anyway, you know, what I'm saying is like for these guys in their 30s and 40s, thinking that more people are going to start thinking outside of the box because, once you get bought in, it's really hard to get out, you know, and debt is a serious thing, man. And most people go for the house, but statistically, generally speaking, fortunate if they can even break even on the house or whatever. Not necessarily as an investment, but and some people do really well. Just never interested that much in real estate myself. I've been really frugal for years, man. And yeah, I just built a house, and my house is basically done down there, but it's got to be painted apparently. DJ says you prefer driving in Western U.S., I assume. Yeah, well, the Western states, yes. Yeah, the Western 11 for sure. Not necessarily California for obvious reasons. It's very hard in terms of parking. You guys would be. You know how hard. You know how ridiculous the parking situation is in this country, dude. I mean, there's not enough truck parking, right? So you got tons of trucks on the road, right? All this demand for freight, thousands of trucks, and there's not enough truck parking. It's a true story. And it's really bad in certain parts of the country. Surprisingly, it's bad in places like Texas. Okay. So you think Texas, like everything's bigger, right? And then it's true, like there's more space, like generally speaking, in Texas. And there's even like cities like Houston are very spread out and stuff, right? Tons of stores, tons of places. And it's a very big city geographically, very big. But there's not enough truck parking. Like there's nowhere to put the trucks like in Houston or Dallas, San Antonio. It's hard to find truck parking. And same with like the East Coast. You go up in the Northeast and you're not prepared like ahead of time, or you're not going to shut down during the day and you pull in somewhere at night. Yeah, good luck. You know how frustrating that is? Like say you just drove 500 or 600 miles and you're really tired and you're looking for parking just to stop the damn truck and you have no place to put it. That's the kind of shit that drives people out of the industry. Marcus says, how long has it taken to go from scratch with your expat plan to where you are now? Well, how long has it taken? I basically kind of made it happen. I mean, I've been going back and forth for years, but I still kind of have like 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I'm like split between two worlds, which is, it's kind of, which I don't mind. I like traveling or whatever and working still in a way all the time. I mean, I'm kind of putting more time into work these days because I'm in this like acceleration phase of my life and my savings. So, I'm in a good spot. So like all the money I make is profitable. It's invested and all that. So I got to kind of make hay while it's a good time. You know what I mean? Because, we're not going to work forever and I don't want to end up being a shoestring expat in my 60s and all that, or 70s. And you can get to that point, man, where you can grow money and then live off passive income. That's a good place to be. It's very hard to live off passive income if you're a regular middle class person and retire at age 49 in the US. Probably almost impossible for most people. But it can be done. It can certainly be done overseas. Uh, people sometimes joke about how vloggers talk about like geo arbitrage, but it's actually true. Geo arbitrage is a very real thing. a high currency and go into a geographic location like a developing country, yeah, it's going to be better. So that's a real thing. But anyway, what do you guys got going on tonight? I just posted a video about the Vitali situation. Something I haven't really talked about much. I don't generally talk about like other people, but I thought like Vitali was such a unique exception to the rule. And in fact, I think I have like 300 plus videos. You can go back through. I don't make videos about other people, but like I said, I think Vitali was a special case because it was such a major international news incident. And, what he did in the Philippines was so insane and so ridiculous and such a negative reflection of foreigners. Just so telling about the toxicity of like certain online cultures, particularly this just people doing anything for views and pranksterism. And that he's quite a character though, man. But dude, do you realize I think he posted something on X just as it was announced that he was being deported, and thank God for him because he was facing like a lot of time potentially, like jail. But he wasn't in jail. He was in I think he was detained in like one of those like immigration type of. No, sorry, not immigration. Like that's like I guess like a Holden type of place where they're going to deport you, but not like prison. But I mean, anyway, it's not fun, right? So, he's all disheveled and he almost looks different. But so I think, and then he made this like X post and he basically said, "Oh, you guys all out there think I've been humbled and, think I'm a changed man, but, I'm just working on the villain arc now and stay tuned. I'm just loading up and recharging." I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly what he said, but it's like, oh my God, he's never going to stop. Oh, goodness gracious. What a life that guy must have. I don't know. Some people say apparently he's loaded, I guess. He's got tons of big properties and stuff, I guess. Maybe he is. It's probably exaggerated on some level, like everything else in social media. People generally do lie about money. That's pretty common, especially like in their houses, right? Thank you very much. Oh God, what do we got going on? Oh, why did you delete the message, Eric? I don't understand. Oh man, I gotta turn the heater back on, dude. Oh, it's cold. Marcus says, I've heard Japan has considered banning American tourism due to shrine and grave desecration. I am still I'm in a place called Joplin, Missouri. That's where I'm at. Yeah, it's kind of, I'm tired of seeing people not get ahead, man. It's terrible. Tired of seeing working men being taken for granted, taken advantage of. I mean, the stuff these guys go through, like stuff truckers go through, stuff, guys in law enforcement go through, like you know, police are treated horribly, the truckers, I mean, a lot of people, man, which is fine. Like, I don't mind it, but I don't like to, I see the way it affects other people. But the biggest tragic part is like when these guys get stuck. And that's why, for the life of me, I can't figure out why more truckers don't do the minimalism thing or don't do the expat thing, because they're in the perfect position for it. They just don't realize. There's some that do. I know that there's got to be like other trucking expats in the Philippines. They don't all have YouTube channels. Apparently, I was the only one. There might be a few others, but it's like good for that lifestyle, right? It's like it can be done. Like I meet these truckers that, and some of them like will work really hard, dude. You know, I mean, crazy work. They're like away from everything. They'll drive like 3,000 plus miles a week for 10 months out of the year. And then they go and buy like sports cars or something. And they're never home. So they buy an asset that depreciates in value. You know how often that happens? I mean, is it's like the what do you call it? The American car culture mentality is so embedded in the consciousness of Americans that it's such it represents so many things and so many people do it. And obviously, you need like transportation for a lot of people. Not if you live in like cities. Well, certain cities like New York or San Francisco, you got the BART, right? You got the subways in New York. But I don't know, man. These friggin' cars, dude. You go to like, I drive in any town in America. I go to any shopping center, any Planet Fitness, or go buy groceries or whatever. Like, just regular people, they have these new cars. And it's a lot of money, right? Autobot or deception driving? I don't know what that is. DJ says, I spent some time in Joplin driving for CFI. I forgot who they were. I forgot that company. I don't know who they are. Yeah. Oh, I was watching Rand Paul, listening rather to, what's his name? Rand, you guys know Rand Paul? He was on Joe Rogan. And they were talking about Joe was giving him props for the way he went after Dr. Anthony Fauci during the whole COVID thing, right? Because he was all fed up with him, and he thought that, you know, Dr. Fauci was misleading people and they didn't have the right data. It was just all fucked up, dude. That whole time was weird, man. You guys remember that? The COVID days? Remember when all that went down? The Philippines shut down. You couldn't get into the Philippines. Everybody had these mask mandates and stay at home, and took the kids out of school. Market dipped and then it recovered in this crazy V shape, which I was fortunate to make good money during that time, but a lot of people didn't. And I've been kind of, I've been buying into the market a little bit, but I'm waiting for, I shouldn't say I'm waiting for a crash because that's kind of negative, but I've kind of been waiting for the next correction, the next big dip. I was going to buy in big league, but I mean, it just keeps going up. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to have to buy. I mean, it's like, isn't that weird though? Stock market, like you got people trading all these different stuffs and different methods, options trading, calendar spreads, uh, swing trading, buy and hold, speculation, gambling. It's like, it's exhausted, but I don't know. I still think the S&P is pretty good. I mean, you can't go wrong, I think, long term, right? 10, 11% returns. I mean, don't get too greedy. That's a pretty good number, right? Marcus says, how have you kept your health up as a trucker? I've always had the assumption that truckers tend to be out of shape due to sitting so much. You seem pretty healthy. Yeah, I am. I mean, I work at it. That's the deal. So I just came from the gym. Lately, I'm getting into, so I'm only able to get physically to a gym like 2 to 3 times a week these days. Because I work about 70 hours, and then you never know what town or city you're going to be in, if they have a gym or not, or whatever. So I'm very focused on, heavy weight to keep the test to boost testosterone and stuff. So tonight I did 5 sets of squats at 275 pounds for 5 reps, and then I did 5 sets of clean and press, moderately heavy weight like 185, and then I did 5 sets of bench ranging from like 215 to 265. 5 sets, 5 sets, 5 sets. Because I would have done more, but the gym was closing. But then getting into sprints. I used to do a lot of cardio, and I still do. And well, yeah, like jogging and stuff. I've run marathons. I've run a marathon in Italy. I ran a mountain race in California, Northern California. But anyway, what I realized though, and I actually got this idea for somebody else that gave me the idea, but you guys realize that like sprints, 30-second sprints, run as fast as you can, walk at a good pace for a minute, run as fast as you can, run as fast as you can. Like those intervals, sprints, that triggers like the human growth hormone in the brain. And those moderate reps with heavy weight, it's going to trigger the testosterone. So it's a great balance. It feels incredible. It's almost as good as sex. It's just different, but it's a great feeling, man. And yeah, man, I still got it, dude. In my 40s, I'm still like pretty much training the exact same ways. I was talking to another guy about this. It's not so much, like staying in shape and all that. Like I can still train the same way with mostly the same intensity, but it's like the recovery, right? Like as you age, you need a little bit more time to recover. That's the deal. Is the recovery. It's not the training so much as the recovery. So you got to properly, recover. So back to back to back, like, 6 days a week straight, maybe a little bit harder to do at full blown intensity. Like if you're doing like bodybuilding, hypertrophy training, 8 to 12 reps, 30 sets, back or chest or whatever. I was always into doing a lot of trisets and supersets. I'm not one of those guys that I don't know what that is. Maybe some of it's just genetics or whatever, but I don't know. Like elite athletes or even bodybuilders, when they're really training, they're always doing stuff, right? So like when you go to your average gym, like people are sitting around a lot. But I was realizing it because I was trying to research it because I never really followed like the training guidelines for like Billy and Susie and the masses because I was on a different level. I'm not saying that arrogantly. This is the truth. I've trained on a different level, on a higher level than like most human beings on earth. So I was thinking like, oh, maybe I should adjust my training a little bit since I'm aging or whatever. And I was looking at it. And so I started actually following like a more methodical program that was recommended, right? And it's all this, do X amount of sets and make sure you rest between sets a minute and a half and don't do cardio before you train for the muscles and, do the weight training first and then cardio, but don't overdo it. And, I went through it and I did it to the T because I usually have just done my own type of training. And I just I started feeling like, you know, the average other Joe in the gym. And I realized that I got it then. I was like, this is what people are doing. Like they're basically training people to be pussies. Like that's the recommended program is bullshit. Yeah. Oh God, that's funny. Um, no, and I was like, you know, I was looking at like the more advanced athletes like Jay Cutler and like these bodybuilders. They did all sorts of crazy out of the box type of shit, dude. Like these guys, like people that really train, you know, they're on a different level. Like they don't, you would look at that and be like, and even science doesn't even say it makes sense, right? So I think it was Jay Cutler was saying like, or maybe Ronnie Coleman. He was like, you know, they just to warm the body up, they'll run a couple miles before they weight train, right? And that's normally like what I would do just to get the body going, just to like wake up. And I get that. And I love sweat and I sweat a lot when I'm training, but just kind of warms the body up just to get in that rhythm. And then I would start training. But like all the science is like, no, don't do that. You got to lift weights first. And if you do cardio, it's like, but I don't know, dude. Because some of these guys, like I said, like the advanced athletes, they seem to be kind of out of the box, in my opinion, in terms of like, who was it? Like Serge Nubret, the French bodybuilder back in the day, in the Arnold days. He was like, I want to say he was like a high volume guy. So he wasn't like, he didn't have a lot of like weight. So that he was like a high repetition, high volume guy. And, you know, he was ripped, in good shape. He was strong, the whole thing. And, you know, like I used to read Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding by Arnold. And Arnold was kind of like a do everything type of guy. So he would do heavy weights, light weights, high reps, low reps, the stripping method, trained into failure. It's all in like bodybuilding. It was always about, you know, just training to absolute failure, right? And that's kind of the shit I got used to. But do you guys like these training stories, by the way? I kind of veered, sorry. I could talk about this all day long. Let me read some comments. DJ says, yeah, it's a lot of money if you can commute 2 hours a day and you want to be comfortable. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Show's Dog says, keep buying on the up and downs, mate, compounded. Yeah, like dollar cost averaging, right? Yeah, that's kind of what I started doing because I realized that if I'm going to sit around another 6 months or a year waiting for the next market crash, I'm going to lose gains. So I was like, all right, I'll put some in, invest a little bit every week, and just, you know, just buy in. So that's what I did. But I bought in about 50% of what I was planning on buying on the dip, right? So I still got a chunk left, you know, that I'm going to put in whenever the next dip happens or whatever, correction, the next wild news story that's going to drop the market and all that shit. That's the other thing, man. Like I got tired of like watching the thing every day, right? And I think it's just human nature. Like if you have like money invested, you're going to want to know what's going on every day, usually. Whether people say they do or not, I think most of them do. So you even if finding yourself like glued to the screen throughout the day, listening to the news, and I don't miss that really. And that's what you're not supposed to do, right? Especially if you're a long-term investor. The idea is that to invest, turn the news off, right? I think Warren Buffett said that. I don't know. He just said something like, don't pay attention to the news. And he's right, you know, because the news will screw you up, dude, when it comes to investing. I mean, that's the whole deal, man. That's what causes a lot of the, in my opinion, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but the temporary dips and fluctuations as we go along. You guys realize a lot of that's just the news, right? So it's all the fear and the greed and You know, people trying to spin stories and speculate on markets, and everybody's got an opinion. And, so you got to decipher through all the noise, listen to the supposed experts. Then you go on the Reddit forums and whatever they're saying. And I really don't miss it, dude. Some people love it, man. They'll do it every day. They do it all day. They love to trade. They trade, trade, trade. And you hear guys will say, "Yeah, I don't work anymore. I just trade." Or like, you know, the guys that don't work and just trade, they're usually full of shit. Most of them are broke and they're living in denial. Many of them are addicted to gambling. They have gambling problems. It's human psychology, man. Like, you got fear and greed, and it turns into gambling. Gamblers always lose, dude. We're not controlling the house, guys. Okay? Everybody wants to beat the casino, right? Everybody wants to beat the house. It's like the big, weird, devious fantasy, and it never works, dude. You got to be the one controlling the game board. That's the only way it's going to work, you know? Otherwise, buy in long term, shut the F up, don't watch the news, and shut it off. And that's it. Oh, what's up, Eric? Good to see you. Eric says compound interest, make it automatic to invest. Don't check it daily, once or twice. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Once or twice a month. Right. Absolutely. But let's be honest, Eric, are we really going to do that? I mean, some guys have they're mentally disciplined and they got other tasks to do and they're productive. So maybe they don't check it, but I would imagine that most people are. Right. And that's where you get screwed up probably. You know, I mean, dude, you have such a large percentage of your net worth riding on a particular stock or a crypto, you don't think your fucking eyes are going to be glued to that thing every day? Of course it is. You know, you're going to be watching all the news, you're going to be reading all the comments on the forums, and it's going to screw you up. And if you're into options trading, good luck, man. Or trading on margin. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Imagine a non-working man that just got a pile of money and now he's going to be an options trader, or he's going to start trading margin or something. Yeah, okay. Listen, guys, there's no easy way out, okay? Life's hard, man. Life's hard. At some point in life, you're going to have to put the nose to the grind. You're going to have to grind hard because it's coming, dude. And I've seen it happen to many people. And I don't take joy in that, believe me. Life's not easy, okay? Even people that come from the establishment, they did really well. They did everything they were supposed to do. And then careers change, life change. Who knows? I mean, a lot of people go through this and life kicks you in the balls. And it's hard to get on the horse, especially when you're in your 40s and 50s and all this stuff. But things just don't go the way people plan it, dude. And that's the way it is. So that's why I'm still preaching minimalism, because, hey, enjoy the simple things, man. If we've learned nothing else from the Philippines culture, I think we've learned that, right? Am I wrong? You guys with me? Am I just talking to myself here or what? Welcome to the live stream, everybody. It's Captain Trucker. I hope you're all having a good evening out there. I did 5 sets, 275 on squats. Did some clean and press. Did some heavy bench press. And I was sprinting. I was feeling pretty good, man. My legs were swole. My delts were pumped. There were these like 21-year-old guys like throwing up like girl weight. I saw these guys. They're like in their early 20s, dude. He's like deadlifting like with one plate. And I'm not like making fun of it. Look, people have different bodies, different genetics, but I'm like, I feel like you could have put in a little bit more effort. That's just me. But that's what I'm saying, man. Like all these new programs now, like all the training programs, like We're basically creating a society of pussies. That's kind of what it is. I'm sorry, dude. But like I said, all the great athletes, well, not all, but many of them, many of the great bodybuilders, the type of training they did was, a lot of it was just totally different. Some of it doesn't make sense. So I'm wondering what's the deal with all these training programs for Billy and Susie. Like I said, I tried to follow one recently, and I found myself getting really like, I couldn't even get a pump. And I started feeling like this jack off in the gym, and I was like, this is terrible. And so I just kind of went back to what I normally do, but I kind of changed things a little bit. Like I said, I'm focused more on moderate reps with heavy weight, compound lifts, right? Bench press, clean and press, squats. That's what you got to do, especially on the road, especially in your 40s. And hey, man, lift that heavy weight. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Heavy weight, man. There's no way around it. I don't think. I mean, it's ideal to do everything, right? But everyone's like, no, you don't have to lift heavy weight. You can just do lightweight and do a lot of reps. I'm sorry, do I sound like a dick? I just say it. We got to challenge ourselves, man. It doesn't matter what body type you have or what your level of strength is and all that. Lift, it's all relative, right? Lift heavy for what you can do. Yeah. So maybe those guys next to me that were 21, maybe that's all they could do. So I don't mean to be rude, but I was just kind of surprised. The other funny thing is too in life when it comes to training, he's like, I don't know if you guys experience this, but you ever had somebody that like weighs like 300 pounds and they're clearly like, heart attack waiting to happen and they're terrible health, and they will literally, and I don't know if it's me and I'm trying to figure it out because I'll talk to anybody, like they start giving me advice on training, like, and they're serious, like they're totally serious, like they're telling me how to get in shape and what I have to do, and I'm like, and I'll indulge them. I listen. Oh, okay. Yeah. I just, I'm like that. I like to see what people are going to say. You guys know what I'm talking about? Am I talking to myself here? Anything? All right. I'm gonna stop talking about training. Well, I think that same mentality we get in some extra. Somebody was telling me that I forget who it was. I'm not gonna say who it was, but somebody was telling me that uh, it was like in a comment or something. He was saying like people are oh yeah, like the know-it-all expat, right? Like you meet the expats that just know everything. And oh, that's all right. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Smash that like button, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's out there, trolls, everybody. Welcome to the next level of thinking, dude. This we are. You're on the channel of a special group of innovators and pioneers and people changing the world, and we're the future on this channel, man. Oh, I'm having a good time. Okay. Oh yeah, why expat life? That's the better question. Well, why not? That's what I say, right? Why not? I got to work on these live streams again and get into it because they've been kind of dribbling lately, and I try not to focus on the numbers so much, but I would like to see at least a couple thousand views on these, or at least 1,000. I remember when I was really like jazzed up into it. I think in 2024, I mean, like I was getting lives that were getting like 30,000 views. I had a live stream once get 70,000 views, And I'm not even joking. Like, I thought it was fake. Like, I thought somebody like hacked my account and manipulated it. So I actually deleted the stream because I didn't want it screwing up my analytics. That's not what happened. I contacted YouTube support and they were all legit IP addresses and all that. Just like, what the fuck? Like, how did that? Well, because they weren't like the best views either. So like, sometimes you'll get sucked into the algorithm mainstream matrix, and that's cool too. But it just kind of becomes like a lot of noise. And you guys notice like on YouTube, like, see, I like just talking, like, without the hype and the sales pitch. But there is a certain degree of energy and enthusiasm that's naturally, these are like the laws of attraction, man. I mean, people come in groups, we attract people. There's a lot of frequencies and energies in the world and in social life and in groups, right? So, I mean, yeah, like if you're doing a live stream and you're like, I don't know, like in a bad mood or pissed off, it's not really conducive to like, drawing in the crowd, so to speak. So there's that. But yeah, anyway, I got to get my mind more into like, I should be here helping people more and all that, which is a great thing. It's what you should be doing in life. I think, like doing this channel, when I started it, it was more of like this, this guy like expressing his thoughts or something. But I mean, it's like, who wants to listen to my thoughts? I don't want to listen, it's like, it's like, so you got to talk about like relevant subjects that people actually care about. Yeah, apparently that's important. Oh God. I'm having a good time. You guys having fun? Who's out there? There's like 150 people in the room right now. Send a message. Marcus says, I prefer these live streams because I can participate. Well, you can. If you go to the description and click on the link, you can actually join the stream if you're interested. I already said that. I would prefer to talk to somebody. You guys make me sit here talking to myself. I mean, somebody asked one question about fitness, so I went off on like a half-hour tangent about lifting weights. But, I don't mean to make this isn't all about me. There shouldn't be, rather. So forgive me. Let's talk about you guys. Give me something to work with. It's your stream because it's you. It's you. Moby Dick says, I'm in Ontario, Canada. Sorry the way I said that name. I just thought that was funny. That's a cool name, actually. Moby. Yeah. I went shopping tonight. You guys want to hear about my shopping routine? Yeah, I don't want to hear about my shopping routine, Moby. Please give me something to work with here, guys. I'm counting on you. Okay, it's supposed to be your live stream, and I'm sitting here babbling now. I do kind of like this backdrop, though, don't you? In the truck, it kind of gives it like this studio look, right? Right? It's kind of like the guy broadcasting out of a studio, but it's really in this shithole truck in some godforsaken lonely parking lot with low energy souls beaten down by society. These poor guys out here. Some of them get mentally ill too, by the way. I mean, they get so beaten down and they have no one to talk to. And, you know, you can only imagine what they ever do. Moby says, "You ever do stand up?" I have. Well, no. I mean, I did comedy. I like comedy. I just never did these things formally, and maybe I should. I guess I should be more business minded. And yeah, what's up, Kevin? I never saw the message. How did I ignore you? He says, "Hey, you're ignoring me." Cool, bro. I just had a question. I subbed for you. I never got your message, man. I didn't see your message. Kevin, don't shame me. I didn't see there's no message on here from you. What are you talking about? I think you said that before, like a couple of years ago. When? On the live stream just now? I'm looking at them. Maybe I'm not getting them. All right, guys, let's go through these. So last message was from Kevin, Marcus, Carol, Moby, Marcus, Eric, Marcus, Bea, Chose Dog, Marcus again, DJ. I don't see any messages here, Kevin, except the one you just sent. Loner from Sacktown. I didn't see it, man. Guys, can you confirm? Am I not getting these messages? Because sometimes it does like freeze the screen, I guess. I don't know what that's about, but I don't see it. What was your question, by the way, Kevin? I'd love to hear it. This is messed up. Maybe I'm missing questions or I don't even realize it. I don't ignore anybody. I don't. I probably should, some people, but just sent it again, sent another. I don't see it. It's not coming through. The first message was Kevin Venture Philippines accusing me of ignoring you. That's the one I see. I don't see any other question. Then. Can somebody else confirm if they see am I missing messages here or what? Maybe it's a conspiracy. Okay, Kevin Marcus has confirmed. He says, I don't see Kevin's question either. YouTube will auto censor content sometimes. How are you going to send me a screenshot? Kevin, you can come into the chat if you go to the description. If you want to like join the stream, you can jump in. It'd be great to talk to you. Oh, God. Oh, you can. What was Kevin's questions? Carol says they can see it. I don't see it. I just went through the whole stream. Huh. That's very strange. It's bizarre. Yeah. So, okay, guys, if you want to join the stream, go to the description and click on the button, the link, and you can join the stream. So I thought that was pretty cool. I had a funny comment from a troll recently. I thought this one was funny. This guy said, they write the weirdest stuff, dude. Oh, come on, Kevin. You don't have to show your face if you want to just like turn the screen. You can just talk. You can just do audio. But yeah, I would much prefer to talk to people in the live streams. Like I don't know. I have the topic, but then I'll get off on a tangent, and then it's like I feel like I'm talking to myself, and I'm not even sure if people want to listen to it. So I would much prefer to like talk about what the people want to talk about, talk to other people in the stream. I think that would be much better. I think that would be much better. Oh, Marcus says he's going to get on too. All right, well, we can do like a three-way. This will be fun. I'm getting excited. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The funny troll comment. This guy goes, and I have no idea what he meant by this, by the way. He goes, "Oh, you're the boss of the Philippines YouTube expat vlogging community? I think you're a fucking pussy." I said, "What are you talking about? I never said that." Like the weirdest. The internet psychology is so weird. Like the stuff people come up with, they're like their perceptions. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You know, I never alluded to that. That's not a title I want. Not really interested. I mean, where are they getting this stuff from? Hey, Jose, how's it going, man? All right, so if you guys want to join the stream, click on the description. There should be a link. Tell me if it's there, Marcus, and Kevin, you let me know too. Jose, I appreciate your recent comments. I get a lot of love from the Filipinos on the channel, and I'm glad that a lot of Filipinos like this channel. They were always one of my great early supporters and still are. But as far as growing the channel, the Filipinos really supported me. I don't know if a lot of people knew that because, like my audience was pretty much split. I didn't just have, this wasn't like a catering Western channel, man. I did a lot of good, the Filipinos have a lot of respect for this channel and they were they had a lot of gratitude and they were very nice to me. And yeah, a lot of Filipino support in this channel. That's a true story. Um, that is a true story. And they really did. They helped. If it wasn't for the Filipinos, I don't think the channel ever would have got past 1,000 subscribers. What's that emoji? I don't understand what that. Are you doing the crying? Oh, I get the heart emoji. That's nice. So, are you going to join in, Kevin, or not? You can just do it on your cell phone. Are we making excuses? I mean, you told me I was ignoring your comment, which I wasn't. I never got it. And that was confirmed by another commenter. And by the way, I think you said the same thing a couple of years ago, and I remember because I got a damn good memory. And I didn't hear from you for a long time. And I thought on some level, if you thought that and then disappeared, that's how sensitive I am. So I was thinking about it, dude. I was not ignoring you. Yeah, I'm getting this. I got that comment. He said, "Are you not getting this?" Was that the comment? But yeah, man, these I don't know what the deal is, dude. These all right, he's working on it. All right, guys, we're gonna have a special guest today. Kevin is coming on the show, if we can call it a show. I'm very excited. I am. I'm glad. I've been wanting to. I like to put a face to the name. I'm a really personal guy, man. Like the thing is, the other part about this whole YouTube experience, all right, is we see metrics and you see the comments. Comments are great. I mean, and you feel them, you see them, and maybe you get jaded by it occasionally, but sometimes you forget that these are actually like people, right? Like there's actually human beings with eyes and arms and legs, people that actually have like lives and stories, and it's good to be able to talk to them sometimes, to put a face to the screen name, so to speak, because it's just it's just so much better. That's why when people contact me by email, I say, just call me on WhatsApp or something. I do phone calls. I text a little bit, but yeah, I prefer phone calls. Yeah, face to face. That's what I'm saying. I got some creatine. You guys want some creatine? Mm. But yeah, man, I love training, dude. I love it even more when I'm on the road because when I'm able to do it, I appreciate it more. Okay, I'm gonna say it like for the 33rd time. No, I've only said it 3 times. Sorry. The description, Kevin, on the video, there should be like a description or whatever. Like you have the thing open. If you click on the description, it'll say join the stream. There's a link. Simply click on that. That should do it. It should be there. Is it in the description? Yeah, Moby says it's in the description. There we go. Okay, Marcus is coming in, and then Kevin will be here soon. He's coming in. Marcus, what's up?
How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for coming on. Uh, we're just doing audio. That's cool.
Yeah, just audio. I've actually never
Yeah.
joined a stream live, so I don't know how I feel about it, but I am interested in your lifestyle.
Oh, right on, man. Thanks for. How long have you been watching the channel? What's can you tell us a little bit about your situation?
Uh, I've been watching it for really inconsistently for the last couple of months, to be honest.
Okay.
Uh, I get a lot of notifications on YouTube, but occasionally the algorithm throws your video my way. I actually just happened upon the stream by accident,
Right on.
but
That's
just
really cool. A
kind of how it
couple.
goes.
Nice. What do you? And this is all anonymous, by the way, so you can tell us anything you want. You don't even have to tell us your real name. I don't care. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
beauty of that's the beauty of being anonymous, right? It's like you can
yeah.
sort of test the waters and throw stuff out there. It's actually pretty cool. Um, what are you? Have you been to the Philippines before? Are you? What is your work situation? Are you in the U.S.? What country are you in? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 27 and I'm in the US.
Okay.
Um, I do accounting clerk work.
I used to
That's just
do that.
about it. I know that's one of the things that caught me when I heard you talking about that.
You're doing like
I was like,
year-end
hey,
and payables and receivables and
yeah, yeah,
POs
I'm in
and
account payables right now. I'm actually taking a master's degree right now to do tax work, get a CPA licensure. But anyways,
yeah, that'd be
I've
cool.
always been really, I guess you could, I don't even like to say frugal my whole life because I don't think it's really that frugal. But then again, I have lived abroad before. I say abroad. I lived in Quebec for about 4 years. And there's a lot of poor people in Quebec because it's like 80% immigrants that don't speak the language.
Yeah,
Um, and you can see that it's not nearly as bad as like the slums in Philippines from what I've seen at all. It's still a first world country, but
yeah,
definitely poor by American standards. But that wasn't really even but poor to me. So I'm used to like living in small apartments or in a trailer home. But then I go out to school and everyone's like wanting to live the most grandiose life possible in these
Right.
nice big old apartments and huge houses and nice cars, and then they wonder why they're living paycheck to paycheck on their
Yeah.
six-figure salary.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
always thought, are you stupid? Like,
It's like,
so
that's
no,
the and you don't
I've
even have to
been,
be you don't even have to be an accountant or work an accountant to have that common sense, right? So what is
yeah.
that? Is it just human nature? Are people want to be kings and queens? Is that the middle class delusion? Is it you know are they playing Monopoly? Like why? What do they think it is? Like, is it a status thing? Is it like, oh, I'm not a bum. Look how great I am. I live in this nice thing, and they buy all
Well,
this shit. It's just like
I
you don't
think,
need consumerism. It's just all the same old bullshit.
I think my this is an unpopular take, although some of my friends really agree. Only the guys agree that I think it has a lot to do with the women and the guys that want the women, right? You know, ever since everybody who knows history knows that women spend all a majority of the money and essentially fund the economy.
Yeah,
Uh, and any guy who's super into cars, well, what's one of the reasons he's into sports cars? Because women like sports cars. Because it gets women, it impresses women. Why do so many men like these big empty houses? Because women like these big empty houses, and that's something I've never. Well, it's not. I guess it's not true because there was a time where I was like really fit, but kind of by accident. But I was a teenager, so that kind of just happens, I suppose. And I was getting a lot of attention, but uh, you know, women even now they don't care for me at all because I'm in a studio apartment. I mean, I could afford a two-bedroom and you know impress the ladies with my uh, I'd say above average physique. It's not godly, but it is above average because my I have visible abs, so I
sure.
know that that's at least above average.
So
But
you think that women are driving this materialism? You think women are more materialistic than men? Women in
oh yeah,
general, or just American women? What do you think?
uh, shoot, honestly, I don't know because I can only compare American women to the women I met in Quebec, and they seem pretty similar in my opinion. But just from the stories that I've heard abroad, this is actually why I started looking at like expat lives because I've heard a lot of stories about Southeast Asia and the Philippines in particular about how that's just not really the mindset um, of wanting more and more.
Right.
But
Yeah. Look, I mean, these cultures they've been through the ringer in history. They kind of know what matters, right? So I mean, you're
yeah,
dealing with cultures that have experienced real colonialism and real natural disasters and tragedies and a long history. And so I think, when cultures go through that, they kind of get their priorities straight. They understand what matters, what's, really matters at the end of the day, what really makes people happy in their family and relationships. Whereas in the West, particularly America, we're a new culture, right? So we've been around for a couple hundred plus years, and we've had a booming, economy in the past, and everything's new, new, new in America, right? So we're not a big nostalgia culture, and we don't travel much.
mm,
So we have this constant, like, maybe perception that everything is like everything new is good. You know what I mean? It's like we're always like getting a
yeah,
new car and this, and everything has to be good quality. Like there's not much, like nostalgia. So you go to Europe, and they're materialistic there too, but there's a better sense of history because they have it. So it's
yeah,
like that's one of the criticisms of our people. But although we're very, very hardworking people, and Americans are some tough mother effers too.
yeah,
So we got that going for us. But if we could somehow learn as a culture to start prioritizing what matters, particularly the middle class, I think we'd be better off. Because right now people are pissing away their money on just unnecessary stuff, like stuff, material shit,
yeah.
physical stuff. It doesn't like
Well, it's
something
like
physical. It doesn't have a life form. It doesn't have a pulse. It can't. It can't make love to you. You know what I mean? It's like what?
yeah,
How?
it's
That's how.
almost as if all of the values that the silent generation had from their Great Depression era kind of stint. They've just been lost. You
Yeah,
know,
that's they kind of got it more, huh? They did. Yeah. Well, because I mean, our grandparents, they kind of maybe they were more frugal.
yeah.
You know.
Well, I'm at the butt end of Gen Z. My grandparents are the boomers, and they were not frugal at all. And my own father, the first thing he had me do when I was 18 was get a car loan, saying that it's better to have a nice car that'll last a long time. And boy, was that one of the worst decisions I ever did, because that really, it just fucked me over for a long time until I got rid of it.
Yeah, it's a common story, man. The car, the car. I just talked to a driver, a guy I've known for a little while, kind of following up, and the guy's working his ass off, making really good money the past couple years. So I asked him how much he saved, right? You know, because he was offered the information. I don't normally ask people what their numbers are. But some people will tell you. Some people just talk. Anyway, so he barely has anything. And, like, I'm like, why? Well, I lent money to this person. I bought a car. Buys like expensive car. It's like to depreciate an asset, to hunk of metal with wheels that transports you places. I mean, what? Is it just such an archetype in our culture, Marcus? Is it such a symbol of freedom, supposedly, and virility and masculinity and status? Is it all that shit? What's the deal with it?
I really think it's more of a status, right? And it's driven by that. And I did kind of blame women. Maybe it's maybe a little bit too much because it's mostly competition. I would like to say if you can make yourself feel like you're winning, it's a huge ego boost.
All right, well, that's good. So you're frustrated with white women, you hate them, and now you want to go to the Philippines. I'm just joking.
I don't hate them. That's not, no. I have plenty of friends who are white women. I've got sisters and a mother. Like, I definitely don't hate them. That's not what I'm saying.
Me too.
I do have some frustrations with the just the what do you call it, consumer culture, but also kind of being looked down on for being frugal. I've come across that in dating, where it's
Really?
like, yeah, where it's like, why do you have a shitty car? Why don't you get a nicer car? You make all this money supposedly. It's like, yeah, well, I have this huge stack of silver because that's what I've been spending my money on instead of a car.
Yeah.
But they don't care about that. It's just like, well, what are you going to use it for? The world ends and the market crashes. No one's going to buy your silver. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like the odds of that happening are super low. And even then, yes, someone will, because you could just go to a different country that's not crashing, right? Like it's,
Are they perceiving you as cheap or frugal? Because there's a difference, obviously.
I think they're perceiving me as cheap. I would like to say, rather than frugal. I don't think very many people my age understand what frugality actually looks like.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. I was just teasing you, man, when I said you didn't like white women. I was just joking around with you.
Oh,
That's a common I mean that's a common frustration, really. And it's reasonable for sure. Yeah, I mean I think men, they look for women elsewhere. They look for a wife elsewhere because and there's a lot of maybe less or maybe it's just because I'm sucked into that YouTube ecosystem I don't see it as much, but you tell me from your perspective in your world with your peers and all that, if you told them like, hey, I'm thinking about going out to the Philippines, I'm talking to some women, how did they perceive that and how did they respond to you?
oh, well, I mean, I already talked to my dad about it, right? And he immediately brought up the whole pedophilia kind of claim. It's like, oh,
Oh,
you're just going over there to try and get with someone, you know, as young as possible, and that's not a good thing. Only the creeps do that. And I
well,
was not very pleased with that. So, but
hold
that
on.
was a year ago. So we're not really mad at each other anymore. But
Yeah, hold on a second. That's those are two completely different things. A younger woman versus what you said. I prefer not to say that word. It's pretty bad. But he was saying that, or just saying if you.
Yeah, he was saying that something like a 10-year age gap would be considered uh criminal.
Bullshit. That's it's kind of it's so in our culture. It's just bullshit, and in some ways, because I think a lot of men here in the system here, there's a lot of, I don't say, men are frustrated and they're, listen, I don't want to like promote the idea because I think it gets promoted too much.
Mm,
It can lead to twisted thinking. So it's a very delicate topic. But, um, I don't inherently believe that like age gaps are a symptom of that kind of criminal mindset because that's a different thing. Uh,
yeah.
men men are still going, they're still flowing with testosterone and in their 40s or whatever and 50s, and it's like, yeah, I don't buy that narrative, but I think there is a degree of, but there is that is going
Yeah.
on. There's criminal
Yeah,
behavior going
I get what you're saying. Like there's definitely bad actors out there,
on.
but
Absolutely,
I don't
100%.
think a majority of guys are these bad actors. But because we have this small subgroup of men who are doing these bad things, you get this accusation against all of the expats that are going out just trying to find a relationship that feels reciprocal.
There could be some negativity, sure. Yeah, but it is going on, no doubt. I mean, I guess it goes on in every country, really.
Yeah.
Uh, I would imagine in some ways it's worse there. They used to say that the West does not send their best. That's true too.
Mm,
It's a really delicate topic, the way the passport bros type of guys have been putting it out there over the years, and the way some people capitalize on the topic and promote it. And I've always, early on in the channel, I talked about that subject specifically, not so much how I felt about it or whatever, but more I was concerned as a blogger there was a danger in over promoting the idea of extreme age gaps because I
mm,
felt it could validate and enable criminal behavior, basically. So I
mm.
was like, I didn't like the way that was handled a little bit by some groups, I guess. Just to let you know. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, just to
You
that's,
didn't.
I used to talk about that more a couple of years ago, but I don't know, the subject, you know, I beat it up enough and I don't really talk about it anymore. But that was kind of my stand on it because I was a younger expat as well, and most men are older. And, they would probably look at me and be like, oh, well, that guy, he's saying that from a position of privilege because he's still relatively young. He's in pretty good physical shape. He's handsome. He's got a little bit of money. So you know, he's speaking from a position of privilege compared to the older expat, but it doesn't really fundamentally change the argument or the logic that I think over promoting that by certain passport bros movements is it's got to be handled delicately. And that's one of the bigger problems with social media, especially in the toxic scene in the Philippines, is just boundaries and ethics, man. Is a
Yeah.
disconnect. And it's something that is important. And I would like to think that my channel was one of them that kind of brought a little bit of, I don't know, clarity, a little bit of unbiasedness, because, I always did this, not making excuses, but I always kind of did this as a hobby on the road. I make a lot more money as a driver than I do with my YouTube channel. So this for me was more of like just a social outlet, quite literally, way for me to get my thoughts out there. So I felt that I was able to approach the subject more unbiased because obviously on YouTube and social media, uh, you know, sensationalism, some gossip, and sex certainly does make the money. So again, it's an interesting topic. I don't think all expats are criminals, and you know. So how did that play out with your dad? That conversation.
Uh, well, we didn't really talk much more about it. He just kind of discussed how expressed his displeasure and how he thought most people were criminal that did that kind of behavior. And
They did what? Like,
honestly, I was mad because it was such an insinuation. It's like, well, I don't, I'm already pretty young, right? When I was talking to him about it, I think I was almost 26, but technically I was 25 years old, right? And so it's like in the Philippines, I understood that the laws were very similar to what we have here, right? So it's like they have age consent laws that are modern, right? So it's like even at that point, it's not that bad. But also, I'm not trying to date like quick or uh, in a large age gap range. Like
well,
I typically date between like 3 and 5 years,
hold on
as
one
it is right
second.
now. So
Yeah.
so just in terms of that conversation I had with my dad, I was just really upset about that kind of accusation. And the only reason I brought it up is because the original question you asked was about what kind of reactions I got from people telling them I was thinking about doing this.
Sorry to cut you off, Kevin. If Marcus and I will be on for a little bit, then if you want to still join in, you can. Sorry to cut you off, Marcus. Kevin is
Yeah, don't
trying
worry
to
about it.
join as well. Yeah, that's a difficult conversation to have. Do you think on some level? Well, yeah. I mean, for me, I'm not. I don't get the. I don't know, man. Like, I think there's also a level of people. It's like case by case. I mean, I even on back in the day, like I wouldn't even talk to women in their early 20s. For me, I thought it was too young, and
Yeah.
not really. And I don't, you know, no, that's not for me. But anyway, men talk about this shit all the time. There's channels dedicated to this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a weird topic, honestly, and my personal opinion is just that personally, I wouldn't want to do a larger gap, but I'm not gonna be one to like judge others that end up making a relationship that works, right? So it's like, and I've met people in the United States who were both, native born Americans, European descent that had like a 12-year age gap. So it's not like it doesn't happen in the US too. But
12 years is nothing, dude. I mean, when you really think about a lifespan, my uncle's wife, who's German, she was 10 years younger than him, and he met her when I think she was maybe 25 and he was 35, and they've been married and have 3 kids for 30 plus years. It's like 10 years is a joke. I mean,
yeah,
especially when you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s.
yeah.
Yeah. What? So
Um,
when you're
there
70,
was
we're going to talk about that if like you're 70 and your wife's 60, like, you know.
yeah,
But it's
there
about
was something I wanted to mention.
keeping
The
mature
reason
and
was
all that life experience. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, the reason I hopped on, well, not really the reason, but I was actually thinking about this today, and it was I just think that there's a lot of institutional unfairness in marital relationships in the largely in the West, not even just in America, but in like the first world. For example, if you look at biology, what do women typically want, right? Just if you were to put it down to the top two things, easy peasy to understand. Well, they want resources and protection, right? This is why they're attracted to like big, strong guys who have power and money, right? And on the flip side, what do guys typically want? They typically want, sex, duh. And then also, I say nurturing for children, right? They want their children to survive. And
Yeah.
what does that look like? That looks like being able to keep the place clean so that no disease happens and the children don't trip and hurt themselves. It looks like understanding nutrition and being able to feed the children that way, right? So that's cooking and cleaning. Like this is why a majority of men like these things. It's just biological programming. And when you look at even the United States 120 years ago, marriage was a tit for tat, right? Men were required by law to provide resources to the woman while the marriage contract was intact, and even if it dissolved. And women, by law, were required to have sex with their husbands. It was called conjugal rights.
I've heard about it.
And
What
and
culture? When was this?
yeah, that was in the U.S. It was pre 1900s.
Really?
So it was for the first 100 years of the United States.
Really?
Yeah,
Required by law to suck a cock. Wow. I'm just
yeah.
joking.
And this is women who refused they weren't imprisoned. They were put into mental asylums.
Really?
Yeah. A husband could petition with the courts and be like, yeah, this is what's happening. And, she would go talk to doctors. And if she insisted and refused to have intimate relations, she would be admitted to a hospital.
To a mental hospital.
Yeah.
So, wow.
And so, and the same laws were in Britain prior to that time. So you think like pre 1800s, like even up to the 1600s. So this is why it influenced early America. And that's how it used to be. And you look at the marriage rates, there's a lot of other reasons why marriage rates were a lot higher and divorce rates were a lot lower, even though they were possible. But I think that's one of the reasons that meant a lot of guys my age, they just don't want to get married at all, because you look at the legal system of what a contract for marriage is, and it's completely one-sided. The man is required by law to provide resources to the woman and the children during and after the marriage. So if the marriage ends, he still has to do it. But the woman has no obligations to him whatsoever. And even to the children, she has very minimal obligations. Like my mother, like my dad's divorced 3 times. So my biological mother, when I was with her and she had custody of us, she would take the child support payments and waste it on whatever she wanted for herself. We never got any clothes. We never got anything that we needed as kids. And there's a lot of women who abuse that, but it's not illegal to do that. You don't have to spend child support money on your kids, which I think is absolutely bonkers. So even in terms of, oh, you need to provide for the kids, it's like, no, the woman is legally allowed to take that money and withhold it from using it on the kids. And it happens a lot. And so this is a huge thing that I think is a problem with the West, of the lopsided marriage contract. But you look at these more conservative, and I say conservative, not even really conservative, I guess more homogenous cultures, homogenous society cultures, because it's not even just like the Philippines. If you look at Japan, they have better marriage laws there as well, but they also have harder marriage rates. So I don't know if that's the whole thing, but I do think it's a contributing factor to why. I mean, just is a huge risk of losing so much, and you have nothing to gain out of it.
Yeah. I see you're quite passionate on this subject. That's interesting stuff.
Yeah, well, I've had my share of attempting relationships here in the U.S. and have them blow up in my face. There was a time where I had a house. Don't anymore.
So, wow. Wow. So what was there a turning point for you, or when have you decided that when do you plan on going out there to the Philippines?
Honestly, it's probably going to be a few years. I'm just going to try and finish up my schooling that I'd been starting, and do tax accounting, get that CPA licensure. And once I have that, I'll be able to do remote tax work, and then I'll go to the Philippines.
So I'm assuming there's a few people you're talking to already.
You mean Filipinas? No, I'm not talking to any women right now.
Oh, why not?
I simply don't want to at the moment. Taking a break.
Oh, that's cool. And as far how long? So as far as YouTube, what other What other channels do you watch, if you don't mind me asking?
YouTube's the only social media that I use.
Do you watch other channels in this genre? Other
Uh, oh, what was her name? There was one other channel about in this genre. I can't remember her name though. Let me look it up actually.
you turn your video on just to let you know.
Oh, there we go. Oh, I can't. Well, I'm sitting down at a computer, so.
Filipino P? Maybe?
Yeah, I got a little laptop that I use for things. I also have a PC for bigger projects, but I only use that one for work.
No, as far as the other vlogger you watch, you mentioned it was a woman. Is it Filipina P?
Oh, no, no. Let me look it up. It wasn't Filipino P. Shoot, I could have sworn. It's right on the tip of my tongue too. So I guess that means I'm never going to find it.
Kevin, if you're still out there, we're gonna wrap it up in a second. That's good stuff, though, man. I appreciate you sharing that commentary about the pre-1900 marriage law in the U.S.
Yeah,
I didn't.
you can look it up. There were laws about conjugal rights where women were required to be intimate with their husbands. Okay, here it is. Smart Girl Philippines. That's the other one.
That's the only other vlogger you watch?
Yeah. Well, in terms of this genre, yeah.
Huh. It's kind of interesting that I popped into your feed then. I wonder why that is.
Well, I think it was probably by accident, but I just came across it. I heard your content and thought it was more genuine.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. What video did you happen to watch, by the way?
Honestly, I don't really remember. I just remember the feeling.
That's cool. It's a good answer. Right on. Well, I appreciate it, Marcus. Stay in touch, man. If you ever want to join the stream again, we continue this. This was good. I like doing this. I'm glad we did this. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I'll go ahead and hop off.
And I hope this helped you. I hope you get some kind of good energy from this, or you feel more confident talking to your father or where you stand, because you're not alone, man. Like nothing you're doing is like that idea is not weird. You're using your brain, okay? And people don't often think outside of the box. And when you're doing the expat thing, it's like a lot of Americans aren't familiar with it. They don't do it because we've been told throughout our lives that we live in the greatest country on earth. And maybe that's true in some ways, certainly for work. But in terms of culture and some of these marriage dynamics, I think it's legitimate. There's legitimate concerns that this is the place for men to find happy relationships necessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's not even just about relationships. It's also just about finances, right?
Yeah,
You
let's
know,
do it.
I was sold growing up the American dream of being able to uh, retire and do what I want with my time. You know, I have lots of things that I'm interested in, but I'm forced to go to a job. So I've always been trying to look like what's the most efficient way to be able to circumnavigate this consistently decaying economy.
Listen, the American middle class is getting shafted every which way. It's not going to change. It's part of the setup. It's part of the hierarchy. All the bullshit. And the American dream is all cool. Okay, you can make it big here. Yes, you can. There's certainly opportunities, but the American middle class is not where it's at, I don't think, in terms of having a quality life with options. Okay, like not. It's very, very. It's very difficult, man. And
Oh,
I think people should take better care of themselves and consider their options. That's what I say. Because we're the ones doing all the work. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You have every damn right to spend the money the way you want. It's the way I see it.
yeah. I found the video just so you know. It's from 1 month ago. It's called "From $700 and Broke to a New Life in the Philippines."
Oh
That's the
yeah.
one that came across my feed that snagged me.
Oh, okay, good. Right on. Marcus, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on. Stay in touch. Keep us updated anytime, man. Appreciate
Yeah, will do. Appreciate it.
it. All right, that was Marcus. Thank you so much, Marcus. 27 years old, and he's getting the memo earlier in life. He's ready to dip. And some of his people are like, "What are you doing?" And the way I see it, I think Marcus is just using his brain. Kevin, you want to jump in? Give me a second. I got to grab something. Hold on. I'll be right back. Marcus and everybody, welcome to the live stream, folks. I'm like a magician behind the curtain right now. I'm grabbing my tangerine. I got to take my vitamin K12 for bedtime. But I want to talk to Kevin because Kevin was one of my first subscribers in history on this channel, and I know who he was one of the first people here. Kevin, come back. I was about to click the button. You still there? Oh. Kevin, I'm ready when you are. There you go. I'm ready.
Are you here? I can't hear you on my phone, but I can hear you on my laptop. Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you. I thought I heard myself echo.
Yeah, let me go ahead and kill my laptop because I wasn't. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
Kamusta Kakuya, it's been a long time no see. How the hell are you?
Dude, I remember. It's funny that you contacted me now because I was going back through old videos and making some of them public. And one of my first videos, this is almost 4 years ago or 3 years ago at least.
Been a while.
Yeah, you were like one of the first commenters on this channel, like literally, like one of the first people out. You start off and you just have a few family and friends, and then some random person, maybe, you get like 100 views or whatever. Like, yeah, you were like one of the first subscribers and commenters on this channel, man.
Right, that was a weird way of calling me a rando, but thanks.
No, I said random.
I'm joking, bro. Man, I'm so lighthearted, bro. Everything's a joke. It's all good.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean it like that. I was saying that you would get random comments, and
Sure,
then
he's like you're the first rando to join my channel. I'm kidding, bro. I'm
no,
having a good time here.
No, because you had like you were like an actual, you had a profile photo. You were like a real person,
Right. No, I appreciate that, bro. You know what? The reason why I was attracted to your channel, by the way, big shout out to Marcus. What an amazing human being. How articulate and intelligent is that guy? If he
Yeah,
could post his shit in the chat right now, I'll follow his channel immediately. That guy has it going on. I like that guy.
yeah, yeah. He has a lot to say. I want to hear from him again too, for sure.
Yeah, but when I ran across your channel, of course, I followed all the big wigs. Everybody starts seeing um, uh, Paul and everybody else when they first get into the whole Filipino thing. But I started looking for channels that were smaller that had something to say. And I'm
Right.
from New Mexico, and you're a truck driver and everything. So I just wanted to hear somebody who is going back and forth, and you seemed very honest and down home. And I wanted to know somebody who wasn't already so high up in the hierarchy that I couldn't contact and get a hold of. And I gave you a shot, and I'm glad I did. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry if I feel like if it feels like I was being an asshole by like, oh, you're just ignoring me. Okay, whatever.
No,
But
it's good.
literally, I've been typing you over and over and over and over again, and it's not showing up on your end.
Okay, dude, because you said the same thing like 2 or 3 years ago, and I never heard from you again. Okay. And I don't think your comments showed up because I look at them and sometimes they get held for review or whatever, but I wouldn't do that. Why would I do that? I
Right.
like,
Well,
I want to hear from
that's why I
people.
hung around. That's why I didn't leave. I hung around to see your response. And when you responded to that, I think it might had to do with the topic I was bringing up this time, and maybe
Yeah,
the previous time as well, because I was asking you, because unbeknownst to a lot of people in the Philippines who don't like to hear about the news, I understand that. But we're about to attack Iran, and well, we just took all of our ships and our vessels out of the sea near China to go to Iran. And my question was, wouldn't that be quite an opportune time for China, while all of our shit's out of that area, to go ahead and try and attack Taiwan?
that's an interesting question. Is that your question? I think now we know the answer why I didn't see it. Google
In
probably,
retrospect, that's probably exactly why.
that's probably exactly why. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, to be totally candid, I don't watch a lot of news. I mean, I'm not saying that's cool. I should. I do sometimes. I do sometimes. It depends. I haven't caught that headline though. I didn't know that.
Well, the mainstream media, um, mainstream, is not telling anyone. But we are about to attack Iran. Trump, they already said that his life was in danger, et cetera, et cetera. And oh, by the way, Marcus just typed in. Marcus, thank you so much for. I'd like to talk about Marcus if we can for a moment, and
Oh,
some
yeah,
of the things he was talking about.
yeah.
Marcus, he is so correct. My dad was 11, God rest his soul, was 11 years older than my mom. And he talked about back when he was a kid, and then I talked to his mom, my grandma. It was not unusual. People would marry younger persons to have the most likelihood of having a baby and having strong offspring. It was a part of survival.
Okay.
Now culture has come forward, and I'm 56 years old, and I'm not even going there looking for a woman. I've been playing in rock bands for like 35 years. Getting a girl has never been a problem for me. I'm not going there because I'm hard up. I'm not one of these simps. I'm not talking to girls over there. Why are guys getting online with girls over there? It's like picking one grain of sand when the entire beach is there, and you're picking out one grain of sand on the beach when you've never even fucking been there. Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, cursing. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah, you curse. No big deal. You can swear. That's I used to say. I guess it's just the way of the world now. I think it's just so common that people just meet online or at least make contacts online. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Are you kind of
Nothing
make?
wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying I'm a person that would rather meet somebody in person and see if that vibe is naturally happening.
No, I get you. I totally get it. Yeah, that's kind of what I used to say. I mean, the first Filipino girlfriend I had was here in the States, and we met, you know, just on a trail by random chance. It turned into a romantic love and adventure and all this stuff. But yeah, we just met as two walkers crossing paths on a trail. But that doesn't. Those kind of things don't happen as much, I guess, these days in a sense, because everybody I don't know. It's just like it still does. It still can. Right. I mean, like you can go to the Philippines and easily, I mean, you're going to meet people. I mean, everybody's
Right.
cousin and mother knows somebody, a single woman, and they're going to talk to you and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I don't even know if, yeah, I kind of agree in some respects. Like, and then you got to worry about with the whole dating sites. And I mean, obviously there's a subculture of scammers on both sides that exploit and use these dating sites, and so you got to kind of filter through a lot of mess and noise, and it's
Absolutely.
it doesn't represent all Filipinos, and it certainly doesn't represent all men, but yeah, there's a lot of crap on there too, and it's about sorting through that, and yeah, yeah. Do you
Would
use
you
them
like
at?
to hear? Would you like to hear my philosophy on meeting a girl when I get to the Philippines? Hopefully within a year.
Yeah, please do. Don't let me talk the whole time, for God's sakes. I'm so tired of talking.
If I was cutting you off, I apologize.
No, I hope we do these streams more with people because this is my favorite thing to do. This is awesome. Please.
Myself as well, and I have my whole setup all hooked through my laptop, and I couldn't contact you there. I was, you know what, in order to get a hold of you, I had to copy the address and then go into Google and then type it in as an address to even get it into this chat. It's not like it was highlighted so I could just click on it. So I'm not
No,
sure what you're using as a platform here, but if you're using one of the other platforms, maybe it would be more easy. I'm not sure.
no, this
Marcus
is
has it all figured out. Or maybe you guys are all on iPhones and they hate my Android. I don't know.
as far as the platform. This is just YouTube's. I'm not using. This is just within YouTube. It's not a. It's not StreamYard or anything. You know what I mean? So
Oh, is that why it said that you already had your maximum amount of people talking
yeah,
when
yeah. This isn't StreamYard. This is just the feature on YouTube itself. So it should. You're saying it did not work? Just clicking the link. You had to copy and paste and do something else.
yes, sir. I had to try and figure it out myself. And I
Okay.
just went last chance gas because I wasn't going to leave here without trying to get a hold of you and be on here and have a conversation man to man with you.
All right. Well,
And
let's move
so
on
I
from that.
copied it.
Tell us about your philosophy. I want to hear that story.
Well, my philosophy on meeting a woman in the Philippines, I'm not going there to meet a woman. Meeting women because I've been in rock bands. I'm not even, Brad Pitt or anything. You don't have to be in rock bands. I've never had a problem meeting women. And
Yeah.
that gives you a lot of confidence. So even though I'm not in rock bands anymore, I'm overweight, etc., gonna get back in shape, blah blah
Sure.
blah. I've never had a problem because the confidence can be smelled from a mile away from a woman. That's just the way it is.
Well, because you got talent, you got charisma. Not everybody has that. You know what I mean? So, like, I mean, for some
When
guys,
you've been to the rodeo and you've seen it a million times, you're no longer like acting like a simp and just trying to be, oh my God, a girl finally looked at me. When you were in rock bands, they looked at you just because you were in the band, not because you're special. They just looked at you. You get so bored of it.
right,
What my philosophy is, I'm going to go there to become scuba certified, to hang out on the beach, live somewhat near the beach. I'm not wealthy in any way, shape, or form, but be within a 10-minute drive of the beach, maybe on, I don't know, Bohol, maybe get near Anda or Penglao or something. And when I meet a girl that's interested in the same things I'm interested in, that's hot AF, well, I'm going to try and create a dialogue with her and see how much we have in common.
cool,
And then, because when you meet someone who's doing something that you're already into, you're more likely to have more things in common, or at least you have that in common, as opposed to just going cold turkey. You just walk up to a girl that's working at a iPhone store in the mall, in an SM mall. What do you really have in common? You don't know. But if you're scuba diving and there happens to be a local that wants to learn how to scuba dive, well, hey, now we've got something in common. So that's just the way I'm looking at it, to have things in common before I even reach out to possibly date a woman.
sure, that totally makes sense. I mean, that's it, and that's very plausible, and it's very that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna meet people. That's what I totally agree, man. I really do. I mean, I don't. I used to talk about that too. Is like I don't even know why especially with the culture and the openness. But I mean, guys have success on the dating sites too. It's just kind of a different. I always said it's more just like a point of contact, really. I mean, and I don't really promote it that much. I don't talk about the subject that much, but you know, the danger can be is like over promising and getting too locked into one person that you don't know, obviously, that you never met. You know what I mean? On a dating site. So I kind of just looked at it as like to have a point of contact, maybe a couple people or 13 people. I'm just joking. No, but I'm just, you know what I mean?
Well, my entire position here is the men that have finally taken the leap to want to move to the Philippines. A lot of them are older. Their self esteem is zero. They don't
Sean,
understand that they're actually fucking heroes over there. And a lot of younger women, and I'm not saying anything younger than like the 20s, 25 or whatever, but I'm saying a lot of younger women look for that security and you're thinking, okay, you're just buying a woman. Bullshit. Women throughout history want security. That's the number one thing. A
right.
man's number one thing is ego. He wants to feel like a man. This is a match made in heaven. So if you meet a younger woman and you try your best to treat her like a queen or whatever, and her like her especially treating you like a king, they don't under I don't really think they're comprehending the fact that these younger women, 25, 30, 35 years old, will look at a man that's 60 as if he's Brad Pitt, and they think, oh, it's all bullshito. It's not all Bushido Blade. They actually see you as someone, obviously, who could financially possibly take care of them and everything, but that's in their DNA.
Yeah.
They want to be able to have children and have them taken care of, and they know they're not going to find that from the locals. Moreover,
Let me ask you your opinion on this, and it's a nuanced conversation. Obviously, it's a lot of directions we can go here. Do you think that a young Filipino woman would be just as would prefer, just in theory, a younger Western male versus an older one? Or do you think maybe there's some arguments to say that some cultures in the East happen to find age attractive in a way? Well, yeah, that's
uh,
true. If you're somewhat in shape, I mean, if you're dilapidated and on death's door, I mean, vitality wise, I mean, you're in pretty good shape, right?
I'm decent. I was always in great shape. I need to lose a few. But here's the point.
Yeah.
I think a woman would always go for a man her age in great shape to a certain degree. As they age, they have this in their DNA. This is not just something that they're reading about in Cosmopolitan. It's in their DNA that they look for structure. And when they stop seeing that in one man, see, we men are visual, women are emotional. When they see a man that could possibly take care of them and their offspring, they start seeing them in a different way than we see an older woman. And so they would rather be with a man their age that has a six pack abs and everything else. Absolutely. That's why there's so many young unmarried women there, because the guys that are good looking and in shape jump, hump, and dump all of them. But here's the situation: the men that come over from another country, they learn to love them in a way that's not like a forced marriage and it's not like a prostitute. Say a 30-year-old woman meets a 60-year-old man. Well, she knows that he probably has a lot more going on, and she finds him attractive because women don't only see visuals as attractive like men do. That's what makes it so hard for men to understand. We see beauty as the girl we want to be with. Women see handsomeness as a man I fell in love with. And a lot of times that has to do with their financial status or their ability to care for them and not jump them, hump them, and dump them. And did I lose you? You're frozen. I don't know if you can hear me. Could anybody hear me out there? Let me know. What happened? Okay, can you guys still hear me at all? Please type one if you can still hear me. Hello, hello, hello. Can anyone hear me? Hello. Oh, you can hear me. Wow, I'm in control of Captain Tucker's show. Sorry, Captain. Love you, brother, but now I'm in control of your show. I'm kidding, of course. But I would, as he reboots or maybe refreshes his page, I want to make this very clear to all the men listening now. You may feel like I'm too ugly, I'm too out of shape, I'm too everything. If I meet a girl, then she's just going to be using me for my money. Name a time in the history of mankind that that wasn't the case.
Okay.
Back in the day, but okay, you're back. Welcome
Yeah.
back to your show. My name's Kevin Venture. We've got Captain Tucker on the line. He is now rebooted, and I'd like to finish my sentence to tell men that you know what? It's not just a transitional thing with you paying a prostitute. That's not the way it works. For all of mankind, the man that gathered the most food or got the most game got the most lovely woman that he wanted because he had his pick. You're seen that way in the Philippines, regardless of how old you are, unless, I mean, if you're the crypt keeper, then it's totally money. But to answer Captain Trucker's um, question, is you're seen as somebody who is unlikely to leave them because they know they're a gem in your eyes, unlike the Filipino men that they're with. They see you as possibly more financially stable, which is all these things are attractive to them, and we see women attractive with our eyes. Women see attractiveness with their feelings. And that's it's a total dichotomy and hard to wrap your head around. But you can go over there, try to be in the best shape you can, but you can actually be attractive in these younger, 30, 35-year-old, 25-year-old, whatever it is, women's eyes because of the fact that you have qualities they're not finding in the local men. And that is the dichotomy in our brains because you're thinking, well, we don't look that good. They don't only look at looks, and we do. They
No, no,
look
I don't
with
view it that.
emotions.
Yeah, no, I don't view it that way. Just to clarify, I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, there's a lot more going on than simply physical looks and the laws of attraction and love
Sure.
and romance and seduction. It's not simply, you know, a young hot body is not necessarily what's
No,
going to
no,
do.
no, no. An average girl to me, if she's as sweet as the day is long, is more beautiful to me than a young 25-year-old that just won a beauty contest. I
Right.
want a girl whose heart and spirit is as beautiful as I perceive her to be.
Yeah, yeah, I meant that for the men too. I'm saying like they're not
Oh, okay.
necessarily prefer a man who's simply younger and better shape and all that kind of stuff. That's not the way it works in life necessarily. So yeah, I mean, so I guess I hear those kind of narratives. I get it, and it makes sense. I totally understand it. I
Well,
guess.
I think both of us should talk right now to Liam, who talked about how that's someone who's desperate and trying to escape object poverty. That's exploitive. I disagree. The thing
Well,
is, all of mankind in all of history, a woman wants to have children with a man that can make sure her children are okay. You don't try to get a young woman because you can. If you happen to fall in love with a woman younger than you that's obviously an adult, then it's still okay just because you don't think it is. Really doesn't matter in on the planet or in the history of mankind. That's just the way of it. We can not look at that, or you can deny it all you want. That's all irrelevant. In all of the history of mankind, a woman wants a man that can take care of her and her children. That's the key. Obviously, being a mature man, you don't want to exploit any young woman. However, if you fall in love with a woman that's 25, well, so be it. There are no rules other than those we set upon ourselves, especially in the last like 150 years, which was never followed in all of the history of mankind, period.
I just want to jump in just because I want to make sure we're hearing different parts of this conversation, and I'm not arguing or agreeing with disagreeing with anybody, by the way. I'm just listening to people because I like to understand the way people think, people's perspectives. I'm not endorsing or promoting anything. But to answer Liam's comment, I guess the concern, and I'll let you answer this, Kevin, is I guess the concern, like in this context of social media and people going to the country and all that, is that some men, and I'm not saying you, I'm not saying necessarily most men, but some men will use those narratives possibly in an exploitive way. And I think that's the concern that a lot of people have, especially Filipinos, maybe some foreigners, who knows. Foreigners oddly do seem to play the morality police over there, which is weird. Although I do think it does bother some Filipinos too, dependent. Do you think that that narrative can possibly be abused, Kevin?
Well, absolutely. If we have these piece of crap people going over there only looking for 18-year-old girls, then they don't quite have the maturity they think they do. They're trying to relive their high school days and don't have anything about them quantitatively. Uh, their moral compass, in my personal opinion, may be off a hair. However, I just read something Liam said that it's a reductive argument. What you're suggesting is a way to soothe yourself into exploring, or he meant to say exploiting, he miswrote poor people. He was trying to say exploit poor people. That's a person that listens to CNN and everything in the mainstream media saying that the Philippines is nothing but a sex trafficking operation. By the way, in the Philippines, back in the day, like 30 years ago, the age of consent was like 15. I watched a whole documentary on it. It's been 18 for like 20 years. It still is 18, and everybody will shut you down if you try to get with a younger woman. The reason why the family doesn't mind if their daughter is 22 and you're 40 is because that's the way it's always been in their culture. And you can't come in playing morality police and trying to wave your flag of like, I'm better and I know better than all of your culture. You don't do that in the Philippines, much less Southeast Asia. The key thing about Southeast Asia to know that I've learned is you want to change things there, and it's never going to change, and you're certainly not going to be the one to change it. So you can play morality police all day long. You can say, hey, there's a better way to make this DMV or whatever function. You can gripe and scream until you're blacklisted from the country. You need to relax, go with the flow. That doesn't mean you're exploiting, not exploring, exploiting poor people. The fact is, there's a have and the have nots. And there's a thing called marrying up. That's for men and women, and it's always been known throughout history. I'm just so freaked out how mature adults have not looked at their history books. I know you have, but it's called marrying up, trying to marry up into a better position because it also helps their family. This is not a new thing, and it's not exploiting anybody. It's the way it works always. And if an EMP went over America and everywhere else right now, and we were all back in the Stone Age, it would go right back to reality. I'm just asking people to have some sense of quantitative reality in their brains. That's the way it's always been, and that will never change. And you certainly won't be the flag waving person to change it. Never going to happen.
Let me ask you, Kevin. What this
By
is
the way, I
obviously
didn't come on here to be argumentative. I just want to have a fun time talking about the Philippines. But you want to go deep? I can go as deep as you want, bro.
you guys want to go deep. You guys want to debate each other. Go for it, man.
Bring a snorkel.
I don't care. You guys can talk about whatever you want. This is your live stream, man.
I just
I'll,
try to read what people are saying, and
well, okay. Let's just let me back up for a second. So maybe, and I don't know this, but maybe a guy like Liam, I can't see his profile, but maybe he's. Are you Filipino, Liam? Is he Filipino?
I don't know, but I'm sure he's a nice gentleman. I just think he probably watches CNN and leftist media all the time, trying to say everybody's going to the Philippines just to take advantage of younger women, which is certainly not the case.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the deal, man. I mean, I'm looking at this from a social media perspective. Okay. I guess from my role doing my channel. And like I said early on, I don't talk about the subject as much anymore just because I don't find it that interesting anymore, to be honest. But
Same.
I used to talk about uh, how the context of this with regards to media specifically, not so much weighing in on like, how I felt, seeing a 60-year-old man with a younger woman. That's not really for me to say, but I guess I, I was concerned with some media, maybe, I guess how it was maybe the responsibility of people
Perceive.
in media to talk about this stuff. in a nuanced way. See, and it's hard to do that like in YouTube videos, right? Because you got a 10-minute video and just the format itself, it's usually a specific narrative. It doesn't look at these things on different sides, and it's better for something like the way we're doing, like in this live stream where we can actually talk about it. And
Sure.
I guess as a social media person, I was concerned myself that some of the presentation I just felt overall was that they were going too hard the other direction. Like, come get your young Filipina, you're the prize, geo arbitrage, and Filipinos don't care. I guess I admit at one point I was concerned about that presentation, but yeah, how do you see it, Kevin, in terms of because you've watched these other channels as well, and you can talk about it if you want. How do you see the overall ecosystem, I guess, with regards to these topics? Do you think it's balanced, or do you think it goes too much one way or the other? How do you see it?
Well, I think you find what you want to find.
Sure.
People that want to find somebody acting like he's in fifth grade watch Sick Grandpa. I think persons like myself that want to meet or hang out or watch a human being who had a good life, watch channels like yours who met a woman, had a baby. I also watch like Carefree Chris. I think he's a good man. He didn't. I watched him for several years, and he's like, I don't want to date anybody ever. I don't know how anybody could date somebody younger than like 30. And now he has an amazing relationship with a 22-year-old girl. And then they're like, she's a kid. Well, she's about to get her degree. So it's a way of brains to think. And I'm not trying to cut down Liam here. What do you say? If it is a case of getting women out of poverty, you can organize a charity. You don't have to um, make people your girlfriend. First of all, if you listen to me as I've been on here, Liam, I'm not going to cut you down just because I have a platform. I don't think that's fair to punch downward. But if you've been listening to me, I'm not even going there to meet a girl. I want it to happen naturally, whomever she may be. Number one. Number two is I really have a feeling, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you believe that it's just to go there to take advantage of a situation. No, that's the way the world works. And would you please let us know where you're from? I'm guessing California or another
Um,
liberal state.
can you finish your other? Can you finish your train of thought, Kevin? I was curious what you had to say about your overall impression of this ecosystem with regards to these topics. So you mentioned,
Well, I thought I kind of mentioned it in the fact that you'll find what you're looking for. If you want to find and follow people that are just trying to show off young women and everything, then you're going to find those type of persons to follow. But if you're just a normal man, you're going to try and find people that have somewhat of a semblance of a moral compass. And when you find those persons, you watch them and you see whether or not they astray from what you're doing or what you agreed to or not. And I think that they're well. Let's put it this way: it doesn't matter what I think, and I'm sorry, sir, but it doesn't matter what you think. The people in the Philippines, when a 50-year-old man has a 22-year-old girlfriend and they're happy together, they don't blink. It's like, oh, awesome, whatever. Love is love. It's a completely different ideology in the West and perspective because that's not been the norm. But it's only not been the norm for like 150 years when everybody got on their soapbox saying, "Oh no, that's not right," when it's been right for tens of thousands of years. So I'm having a hard time understanding persons trying to say you're just trying to go there to meet a young girl. That's not the case in my personal opinion anyway. Some guys are. They're a-holes. You can follow them. They're probably going to go to jail. They're going to
but
become a vitality.
people are people in life do look for partners. I mean, so it wouldn't be the most egregious, craziest thing to think a man would go to another country to look for a wife or girlfriend. It's not That's not inherently wicked, right?
No. And you know one of the reasons I would like to find a younger girl as opposed to a girl about my age? I simply would like to meet a woman with traditional values that hasn't been run through more than a yellow light.
Yeah, sure. And but yeah, I would, what would I would be interested in? I don't even know if we're able to quantify this, if there's statistics on this, because I don't think they know. But I mean, I would be curious how many cases of these crimes against humanity and the bad stuff that goes on, the bad players. I don't know if we know. Do we know like relative numbers?
The last statistics I looked up, sir, were that America has as much or more sex trafficking than the Philippines do. And most Filipino women get into education more quickly. In fact, per capita, there's more Filipino women with a degree than in America because obviously we have a larger population. But I don't think a lot of people know a lot about the Philippines. They think it's a small little couple of islands. There's over 7,641 islands, and there's currently about 114 million people, almost half the population of the United States. I don't think people are taking all of this into their brains. I don't think they're understanding it. Like people from Europe don't understand. Denmark could fit in my home state of New Mexico 7.6 times. People are not wrapping their heads around these larger cultures and what they've been doing for thousands of years.
All right, let me jump in though, and I want to play this other side because I think
Please.
one of the concerns, and this is very real, this is history, you can look this up. I think that, and I'm not saying this is exclusive to the U.S. military, it's not a smear on the U.S., it's just unfortunately human behavior. There was a significant amount of like Amera-Asians and kids that a lot of the servicemen had during their years in the Philippines when they were there to supposedly protect them. Maybe they
True.
were protecting them. And they did leave behind legitimate populations of dozens of thousands into the hundreds of thousands of kids, okay, that they never took care of, that they abandoned, that Filipinos
Fair.
never got financial support for. And so that, I think that left a bad taste in their mouth, obviously, and made them skeptical about foreigners and stuff. And I also do think that in Western media, we've done a damn good job of promoting a negative image of those countries as well, right? For whatever reason. I think psychologically, I look at it from that perspective. I feel like, I mean, these guys, the balance of this is like, I know men can get scammed out there. I get it. But I still think overall the balance is like, I think when I say we, I mean the West, I think we've taken more from them than vice versa. You know what I mean? And so I think that's where some of their hesitation would naturally come from. And the Amera-Asian Act, like that Congress passed in the 80s, the U.S. government was supposed to give citizenship to a lot of these kids. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these kids created generations of family trees of
Yes,
for
sir.
children. I mean, it's pretty serious. And that's going to have an effect on their economy and morality and all this stuff. Or excuse me, the morale, rather, is what I mean. But the Amera-Asian Act, the Philippines got the short end of the stick on that. The Philippines, because they didn't get anything. The surrounding countries did. They were able to get a good path to citizenship. But I think the reason for that was also because there were so many. I think the U.S. didn't want to float the bill. And also, just let me finish. I'll let you go.
I apologize.
Okay, it's also and back in the wars, like I don't know, want to say World War II or one of the wars, but they had, they recruited a lot of Filipinos to fight in our wars, and they were supposed to get citizenship, and they never did, or I don't know what happened there, but there was shady shit there. So, I mean, I think, there's naturally a distrust, and they're still open to us. They still love us. They still welcome us, and they're still hospitable. But, it's so, we're going up against that. Like there's, some of our servicemen didn't behave the best, and obviously the best doesn't always send their west. We all know there's legit scumbags that go to these places and do terrible things, and it's and not all of them, but some of them. I do think a lot of expats are solid, and there's some that aren't. Like there's some guys that go there that are like mentally fucked up. Like they're not normal people. They're selfish. They're delusional. They had problems back in the West. There is that going on, So it's kind of, there's a whole population. So we can't say all expats are the same. But, that being said, it's a complicated conversation. You know what I mean? So I've always been reluctant to just be like, to put out videos and say stuff like, oh, age doesn't matter. Nobody cares anymore. Put in the title, you know, meet your young woman here. Nobody cares. Age gaps. They don't care. I see that. I think that over promoted that. Um, I personally think it's reckless to promote it that way. But that's just how I see it. I'm not
Well, I
saying it's
agree that that's all just buddy talk. Like, hey, you can get a hot chick over there that's young. Back to reality. When you were discussing about how America abused the Philippines, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take the flip side of the coin respectfully. Um, we helped them uh, get their sovereignty from Spain, and
true.
we bought and purchased the Philippines, and we owned the Philippines for 48 years. People don't even know that. America owned the Philippines. We built schools, we built infrastructure as best we could, we built hospitals. We left them hundreds of thousands of Jeeps that we used in the war. We fought side by side with them. We didn't force them into anything. We were helping them preserve themselves, and we
Yeah.
have the second largest military graveyard in the world in Manila, with what is it, 17,633 graves there of American soldiers, and they raise the flag every single day and play taps every single day, come hell or high water. We helped them more than anything, and then after 48 years of owning the Philippines, we politely gave it back to them. And when Trump put the new tariffs on all these countries, and it came out, why did they Trump give 19% to the Philippines? Well, unbeknownst to the populace behind the scenes, they actually made another deal at 6%. We do nothing but help the Philippines. They are literally our familia and our best friends. And so to say that we overtook them and just destroyed them and they all have this resentment against us could not be more disingenuous in my personal opinion.
Yeah, hey, listen, I agree with, I mean, that's all mostly true. And I didn't mean to make it sound like that, but I was just saying that there's
Some 90-year-olds that still are mad that they had an unwedded child. Yeah, okay, but that's not the way it is now.
I'm just saying it's like it was a little bit checkered. It wasn't totally perfect. We could have behaved better
No.
as a serviceman. But yeah, I mean you're
Name
right.
some time in history around the world that wasn't checkered, bro. I'll wait.
I
You
agree.
know what I'm saying?
I agree. I'm just saying there was hundreds of thousands of kids, right? That's a lot of people. That's all I'm saying. But we've
May
done a
I
lot.
ask you a question? What brought you to the Philippines? Why the Philippines?
Oh God. I mean, I well for me, I guess it was my first girlfriend, and she got me interested in the culture. I met her here. She was Filipino. She was actually 10 years older than me. So it was like reverse age gap, right?
Well, hey, now no, you're a freaking pervert.
No, but she
There's
had
no
a
damn way you could date a girl 10-year difference. What a perv. Just kidding.
no, but older than me, right? So it was like the
Oh, it's
reverse.
better that, oh, so now you're calling her the perv. No, I'm kidding. I'm just trying to go along with
No,
Ian
I
and
get
all
it.
his.
But, yeah, but it was like that, and she had, she was much more together than me. She had a career. She owned two houses, and I was in my 20s, and yeah, we had a great relationship. But I guess her kindness, she was just so cool, like the nicest person I ever met in my
Oh,
life.
yeah, for
Just
sure.
the nicest person I ever met in my life, like the kindest person, like a woman who took care of people, a woman who cared about people, like dedicated her life to health care and took care of her family and was just like the coolest, generous, nicest person I ever met. I was spoiled by her, man, in a way. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was that. It was really that. So I was just like, wow, they seem like really cool people. I want to go to the Philippines one day. And that,
I
I
want to
guess,
be spoiled emotionally. That's why I'm moving there. I want to be spoiled emotionally. I want to know what it's like for a woman to actually care about you. And to Liam's last point, he said, I would suggest it's more fiscally motivated due to desperation. Well, name a time there wasn't. To this day, all over the world and all throughout history, including right now, people are saying, you can marry my daughter for 3 goats, 2 pigs, and a big party. That's just the way life has always worked. We live in a different age, and if you've never been to other countries and you've never seen how things work and have always worked, sure. It's once I said what I said earlier about marrying up. That's a term for a reason. You can look it up in the dictionary. Marrying up means getting into a higher standard for not just you, but all of your family. That doesn't mean that they're prostitutes. This is the way the world works. People don't want to be in poverty forever. And it doesn't mean that you can take advantage of them either. They should be treated with as much respect as you treat anyone you ever meet. And you may meet someone in the Philippines. Don't think that there's not millionaires in the Philippines. Correct me if I'm wrong, Captain Trucker. There are a lot of millionaires in the Philippines. You can meet a woman that might own several houses in a business. You just don't know. Or am I wrong?
There's certainly rich families there, of course. I mean, of course, there's rich families there, no doubt. Yeah, and to play devil's advocate or to echo what you're saying about the transactional argument is like, I mean, you could argue, and I'm just playing advocate here, but it's like in America, people get married for transactional reasons all the time, and that's part of the.
It's the only reason they get married. If you don't have a six pack, you're not 6 foot tall and don't make six figures, then a woman is not interested anymore.
Well, right, and maybe that's part of the reason, and because of our culture and consumerism and these ridiculous lifestyles, maybe that's part of the why the divorce rate's so high is because,
Yep.
I mean, call me naive, but I kind of believe in love and romance, and it's not all about the money. Is that naive of me, or?
No, I'm old school. I'm like you, dude. I just want to meet a girl naturally. That's why, personally, if it works for you, fine to go online. But I think you're just trying to stroke your ego and picking one grain of sand out of the beach. I'm just going to get there, put feet on the ground, and walk around doing things that I enjoy and meet local women that are doing things that I enjoy as well. So at least I know we already automatically have something in common. Then I'm going to see if we have any kind of rapport or any kind of like little spark there. And if that never happens, I'll be single for the rest of my life in the Philippines. I really don't care. I'm not going there to just meet a woman. If you're going there just to meet a woman, maybe rethink your priorities. Go there to get out of the hellhole that's become America, all the feuding, all the bullshit, all the everything that's going on, and go and live on tropical islands with the most beautiful people on the planet Earth.
Yeah, and um, in the past, I was making that point about the Amer-Asian kids, but in fairness, and I'm glad that you mentioned that story about the history of the U.S. and the Philippines. Yeah, I mean, it's like this country definitely. I don't know. Well, there's arguments about colonialism and all. I don't know. It's complicated, but yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, the Filipinos welcome Americans, and they're very grateful, for whatever we've done, which is in terms of that for sure. So
Well, it's
yes.
like the jeepneys. Look at the jeepneys. Are they not still a main mode of transportation? Transportation. The jeepneys are literally just the jeeps that we left there for them after we helped them all out and then gave them their sovereignty. We left what, a couple of 100,000 jeeps for free? Here you go. Now you have transportation, hospitals, and education and roads.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's people have different views on colonialism and all that. What's
Well, colonialism is if you want to keep it forever, and we gave it back to them. So how's that colonialist?
the full point? All
It's
right.
one thing if we still own the Philippines. It's another thing when we literally gave it back to them when they got on their feet and they finally figured things out enough to where they could stay on their own, and we're still best friends.
This has been a good live stream, man. I want to start doing more like this. This is the best live stream I've had in a long time, actually. I think. I didn't
Wait,
get a
wait, wait,
lot.
wait. I want to know where Liam's from because he just said, here's the thing. How about marry someone from your own country? That way you describe it the way it should be simple. The reason why we're leaving America, because the new American dream is leaving because all the women have blue hair, nose rings, and are psyched out of their gourd. They hate men, almost all of them, and all the good ones are usually taken by the elite. So that's not even a thing. So I'd like to know where Liam is, but I love you. God bless you, Liam.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can get into this. I mean, dude, we can get into it. I don't care. I mean, look, I'll be straight with it. I'm not a big political guy here in the U.S. I obviously both parties have corrupt in some way, shape, or form. I do,
Agreed.
I do think in recent years, and this is just the way I see it, I think that Democrats have become like way more corrupt. Just they're both corrupt, but I think they got worse in a weird way, and they kind of became like the party of like I don't know censorship, and they were supposed to be like the free speech party and the working man, and now
100%, 100%. They have more money as of 2016, and they say everything else is for the millionaires and billionaires when they have been the billionaires and millionaires since
like the tech
2016.
elite, like the tech elite, they were supposed to be like the liberal guys, and then they're trying to censor and do all this stuff, and it's all, and then you got this small group that promoted all this woke stuff, and
I know the woke ideology is destroying the planet Earth, and I'd like Liam to just mention where he's from, please. I'm reading everything you have to say, but you're not answering one question. Where are you from?
all right, I don't know, maybe he just wants to argue. I wouldn't put too much. You can't put too much passion into like every comment that's gonna.
No, I was just trying to bring the audience into our conversation. So it's because the life's not about me, it's about we.
But let me just go on my current social affairs in America speech really quick, and the what was I gonna say? Yeah, I think
Let's
it was.
all fucked up, bro.
Yeah, I think there was. And look, I've been all around America. I see people in different cities, small towns. I lived in the most liberal places in America. I've lived up in the Bay Area. I used to live in
Same.
Berkeley. Dude, I don't really know many people that are legitimately like, hey, I want to transition the kids to another gender. And
Really? I know a lot of those people in New Mexico and Southern California and everything. Are you kidding me, dude? In Colorado? They're like, my child, she's 3 and but she's not a she, I'm sorry. He is now whatever we can tell. I
you
see that
actually
all the time.
like you've
Are
actually
you
come across.
freaking kidding me? Dude, it's rampant.
No, I know it is, but I was questioning. Yeah, I know it is, but I'm saying
Yeah,
like,
I've come into contact with those people and I just leave politely because I'm not a physically violent person. I just try and walk away as quickly as I can when I walk by them, they're like, "Oh, she is oh, I mean he we decided it's a he or she decided she's a he and all that shit." I'm just like when I'm walking through parts of Colorado or Southern California, I'm like, "Oh my God, I gotta leave. I gotta get
that's
out of
even
here."
more frightening, man, because I was hoping that I know it was happening, but I was hoping that it was a small group and that it was just being over polarized and
Over polarized. No, it's unfortunately quite a large group, and the reason
oh,
why I find it in places like Colorado and everything, if you look at the influx of people that are leaving one state to another, most Californians are leaving to Texas, and that's why Austin is now blue, and they're leaving to Colorado and Arizona and New Mexico, especially Santa Fe and Taos. That's why they're so blue and they run the states, and they're all 100% woke.
dude, it's going to be one of those things. And I was hearing Rogan talk about this too, and I kind of agree with what he said. It's going to be one of those things like down the road, we're going to look back and be like, what the fuck were they
Right.
thinking? I mean, there's even studies now about, dude, you're messing with hormones, you're cutting, you're castrating people. I mean, this is the sickest, most unethical, unbased in science, ludicrous, fucking insanity. I'm sorry, dude. These are children. It's wrong. It's just
They,
fucking wrong.
they are. And Liam just wrote in, I have a 3-year-old child and decided to move to the Philippines. My son is 35, probably older than you. You're probably just a child troll. Anyways,
But
yeah,
the thing was is that as far as like the culture here in America, um, yeah, I mean, can you blame men necessarily for wanting to? Because yeah, man, it's like what Marcus was saying about the dating scene. I mean, this woman's breaking his balls about the car he's driving, and he makes decent money, and it's like you can be a guy like I don't know Marcus or whoever, and it's like who wants to deal with like I don't know materialism and nonsense and working as hard as he is and like not being respected. I mean, that sucks. You know?
would you mind if I tell you something about myself really quickly? Because I never said anything about why I'm going to the Philippines or anything.
I thought that was the whole point of the conversation because he wanted to go hang out and then
Well, no, you never asked me why I wanted to go there. I
oh,
picked the
well,
Philippines.
how do you want to go specifically? I guess.
Well, the reason why is because I got tired of what was happening in America, and I was able to live in on Maui in Lahaina before it was burned down for a month. And I grew up in Alaska. I have traveled all the 30 states. I created the Travelers Camp Fest. You can look it up right now on YouTube. I had people coming from all over the world to come to my camp fest, and I never got that island vibe out of me. So I'm not a wealthy person. So I started looking at different countries like Belize, etc., to where I could be on the beach. That wasn't my vibe. They had a lot of strife with the military and everything. The reason why I never thought about the Philippines is because many years ago, I was in Phoenix, Arizona in rock bands, and I was hanging out at somebody's house, and these world traveling kids said they had just seen a couple of Danish girls hung in the Philippines for having weed. I was like, what? But this is like way back, like 40 years ago. And so I just thought that they were evil, mean people or whatever. Not that I smoke weed or anything, but I just thought that's evil. And so I never looked at it until I heard of Coast to Coast Radio. And remember when one of the head guys was like, I'm coming to you from the beautiful Philippines. And then more and more people mentioned it. Then I looked up the Philippines one day and I ran into a whole bunch of different channels. First was Finn Snow, and then others, and so on and so forth, till I met you. And I've done nothing but study the Philippines for 6 years straight, or 5 years straight, about 6 hours a day. I can speak some Tagalog and some Bisaya. Um, I've got apps right now. I'm learning more Bisaya and Tagalog every day because I've found, looking into it, it's the most amazing country in the world that you could possibly go to if you're a decent human being.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a lovely place.
What do you think about Penglao
I haven't been there.
or Bohol as a starter place?
Yeah, I've had a pretty, having the kid and everything. I mean, I've traveled a little bit there, but not as much as I would like. It's, you know, I had a different experience than a lot of men, man. A lot of guys go there as single men and they get to, or they travel, they go here, they go there. I sometimes wonder what my lifestyle would have been like, but no, I'm okay. I love having my son and building this house. It's just been a lot of work for me, man. In recent years, it wasn't like my Philippine experience wasn't some big party.
Well, I didn't even want to go to that party. I happen to be a musician, and evidently they love musicians there.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I played a little bit of drums there for sure. Um,
Oh, wait. Do we have a band going?
I miss playing, man. It's like the thing with me is like I've had so much fun. I used to live in a rock and roll studio. I played drums. I lived in an RV. That's where I met my first Filipina girlfriend. I mean, I was on, I hung out with musicians and strange people. We had a lot of fun. It was great years, man. My 20s was just like a roaring party. I mean, I still work.
Right.
I
Yeah.
still work, and I worked. Some people used to say I didn't work. I worked all the time, dude. I had to fund all this shit. I mean, I had a car, I had an RV. I went to Mexico. I went to Italy. I was running marathons, playing drums, doing all this stuff. And so my point is that I've had a lot of fun. You know what I mean? So I don't feel sorry for myself at this stage of my life at this time to where I got to grind pretty hard for like a number of years to really make a secure future. So I don't feel sorry for myself. Yeah, you might feel this way too because I know you've had fun as a musician and everything. It's just like at some point in
That
life.
got old. That got old after a while. People wouldn't believe it, but the cheering on and all that stuff, it all gets freaking old. Anything gets old, and everything should be in moderation.
Yeah. And I think, and I was telling another subscriber, this is like, I just think there's always a point in life for most men, no matter how much you had or didn't have, or maybe how whatever you worked hard or privileged. I think all men at some point they just have to grind hard. And it's just kind of like to get ahead in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing is, I like about you is you've either always known it. I think you've always known it, but I've always had it because my dad ripped us out of New Mexico and I grew up in Alaska, living out of RVs and everything, and then moving into cities. but I've never needed a gigantic house. I've rented some huge ones, blah, 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 blah. It's just more work than it's worth. The more things I had, the more I felt like it owned me. I would
Right.
rather have less things and have more freedom. Less
Yeah.
things, more freedom.
And a lot of people just say that's the thing that poor people say, and then you actually start to
Right.
get, then you get some money, and then you do the same thing, and they're like, "Oh, damn it, I got to use something else against them now."
Bro, I got some millionaire friends that call me up periodically going, "What are you doing now? Where are you at now?" Because they're stuck behind a desk or whatever, and they never get to their boat and their mansion. They own like 600, 700,000 or 1.5. And I'm like, "Bro, I'm just traveling the country in my RV. What's up?"
Yeah. Well, I love talking to you, man. I'm glad that.
You bet. Let me let you go, bro.
Yeah, I should go to bed. I think we did this for a couple hours or something, but
Well, it was great to finally be able to talk to you because in the future, I have a video with the voice. I didn't have everything hooked up, but I wanted to contact you and let you know that you're one of the few out there being honest, and you're trying to create dialogue, which we need more of, and we play devil's advocate towards one another because nobody here is right. We're all just trying to find truth.
right. Amen. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I really do. And let's do this again sometime. I want to start doing more live streams like this. I like this. This is one of my favorite live streams I've ever done. This is
Awesome. Well, hopefully I can come on again sometime. I'll try and get my camera, everything going. But let me let you go and say goodbye to everybody in there. God bless all of you.
yeah.
Liam, I got nothing against you or anyone else. I love you. And Marcus, you rock. All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.
All
Peace.
right. Take care. Thank you, man. That was Kevin, everybody. Kevin was one of the first subscribers on this channel. Okay. True story. And it's funny that he popped in today because I was looking at one of my old videos and he was one of the first subscribers. So I think he's still there. Disconnect, Kevin? I don't think he disconnected. Um, but yeah, man, good stuff. Let's do more of this in the future, guys. Whoever's out there, I like these open live stream call-ins. This is good. This is a lot of fun, man. I like this way better than me just talking to the camera. I want to hear what you guys have to say, man. I really do. I want to hear and talk to the people that watch this channel. I want to hear what you guys have to say. It interests me. It really does. Like it gives me something to do, and it's nice to listen to somebody else talk other than myself. Um, so yeah, thank you, Marcus and Kevin and everybody else, man, and Daniel too. Daniel jumped in one before DJC. If you want to hop in too sometime, that'd be cool. But yeah, let's do this again, guys. I'll try to put out like a community post. Try to plan these as much in advance as I can, but it's kind of hit or miss on the road. I mean, I'm working like 70 hours a week, so uh, it's hard for me to plan these ahead of time, but I'll try my best to. All right, you guys have a good night. And we talked about a lot of stuff tonight. Um, uh, yeah, that was a good live. Thank you, Cece. Uh, let's do this all again, people. Well, there's still people here. Maybe we can talk. Do you want to jump in, Daniel? Should I keep going? I don't have work tomorrow, so well, I kind of do. Do I? What time is it? I should go to bed soon. You guys got me all wound up. That's what happens. You guys get me talking, and then I just keep going. Cece, did you want to jump into the stream? Somebody else? We'll see what happens. If not, we'll wrap it up. Um, One thing I have noticed about the subscribers, at least the ones that I've talked to so far, is thank you, Marcus, is that they seem like pretty informed, intelligent people that, can hold dialogue and know stuff about history and life and have experience and stuff. I just say that because, I mean, like sometimes you meet people in public, not people on the channel, but I'm just saying random people, right, in the world, and like for health reasons or whatever, like there's some dull-minded people out there, you know what I mean? But I mean, like the subscribers I've talked to that watch this channel is like they're It's like somebody I would want to talk to. You know what I mean? Like somebody that has something to say. People that have passions about subjects, people that believe in something, people that have dreams or have experience in life, and that's interesting stuff, man. A lot of people out there have good stories, man. A lot of people out there have something to say. So if you want to join these streams, you can do like, some people don't want to be on camera. You can just call, use an anonymous name. That's cool. This will become like a radio show. It'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, it's Captain Trucker. Just to recap what we talked about in tonight's stream, I started off the first hour talking about, I think I opened with like why expat life, the middle class decay. I talked a little bit about vlogging, and I think then I talked about training. I started talking about working out, different training methods. I kind of went on that speech for a while. We talked a little bit about investing, and then Marcus joined in. He's 27. He works in accounting work, and he's not satisfied with the dating scene, and so he's been thinking about going to the Philippines. He got a little bit of pushback from people he knows, so we got to kind of talk about that. And then of course Kevin jumped in, and then we talked about the infamous age gap topic and history and how it's perceived. And I went into the decline of the West and all this and that. So we had a pretty broad, pretty in-depth conversation. Marcus mentioned some really interesting things too, as well as Kevin did. But Marcus was talking about in history how apparently before the 1900s that like women were required to sleep with their husbands or something crazy, and then if not, they could be put in mental hospitals. I thought that was nuts. And Kevin had some interesting anecdotes about history too, for sure. And yeah, that was good. I like this. Let's do this again, guys. It's Captain Trucker, man. You guys have a good night. Be good out there. Peace.